you're going to be a true journalist, a rock journalist, first you never get paid much. But you will get free records from the record company. God, it's going to get ugly, man. They're going to buy you drinks. You're going to meet girls. They're going to try to fly you places for free, offer you drugs. And I know it sounds great, but these people are not your friends. These are people who want you to write sanctimonious stories about the genius of rock stars, and they will ruin rock and roll and strangle everything we love about it. Because they're trying to buy respectability for a form that is gloriously and righteously dumb.
Music critic prodigy William Miller gets a gig with Rolling Stone magazine. Under false pretenses, he hits the road with mid-level group Stillwater. As he follows the chaos from town to town, William falls under the spell of the band, their world, and Band Aid Penny Lane. One of the most personal films ever made, Almost Famous is Cameron Crowe's love letter to his youth and the music of the era. Joining him on the road were an outstanding ensemble and one of the great movie soundtracks. My name is Luke, and the two slaves to the groove with me are Matt.
I'm always home, I'm uncool.
And Westy.
Oh, it's okay. I'm easy to forget. Just leave me behind. I'm only the fucking lead singer!
ATRM dig music. We're on the two with the golden gods of rock. Crazy. Hello and welcome to All the Right Movies, the incendiary podcast on classic and hit films. We're telling the story of Hollywood one film at a time, and this time we're hitting the road with one of the most beloved films since the turn of the century. Certainly, in our opinion, it is Cameron Crowe's Almost Famous.
Very nice.
Absolutely is.
I'm incendiary too, man.
Hey, man. Okay, so Matt, the spotlight is on you. This was your choice. Why do you want to talk about Almost Famous?
I mean, this one, it's just a big old comfort blanket of a film. Like, I put this on, and it's like I've just come home after a long day. That scene at the end where William just collapses onto his bed.
That's great.
That feeling is this film. And there's so much love throughout this film. There's love for music. There's a love for just the general creation of art. There's a love for family, whether it's biological or it's the family you find out on the road. And it has that beautiful blend of it's so uniquely personal to Cameron Crowe and his youth. But at the same time, it's so relatable. Everyone can relate to some aspect of this film.
Yes.
Is there a little bit too much love for everything in this film instead of realism? Maybe, and I'm sure we'll get into that. But I think the last thing I'll say is people might remember, if you've been listening for a while, we did do a YouTube video on this a few years back, which is only about 15 minutes long. That's nowhere near long enough to get into everything that's packed into this film.
No.
Not by a long shot. What about you, Westy? Why do you want to talk about Almost Famous?
Yeah, I mean, I'm the same as Matt. I've got a big love for this one. I remember leaving the cinema and just floating out, just thinking, oh, that was superb. I'm getting the bus, went straight into Newcastle City Centre, went around all the record shops, tried to pick up as many as I could. Yeah. Just that real feeling of like, you're doing the right thing by being a nerd and loving music. This really reinforced that and reinforced who I was. And it was just such a feel-good film and I felt great after it. And for that reason, I do come back to it quite often. The soundtrack is beyond amazing. It's an absolute lesson, and it's Cameron Crowe's standout film for me. It's definitely his best up there. It's just it's a joy to watch, and I'm sure it's going to be a joy to talk about.
It certainly is that. The same as you fellas. I saw this when it came out, and it felt like it was made for me, specifically just me.
Yeah.
I'm sure you feel the same way.
We did,
Yeah.
I would have been, I suppose, 19. Music was always my second love, and I'm as obsessive about it as I am movies. And every scene reaffirmed my taste in music. Songs that I knew that I didn't think anybody else did. Songs that I didn't know, but I soon would. That film transported me to a wonderful place in time, and I just couldn't wait to go back there.
Yeah.
And I got it when it came out on DVD because I loved it. But then the untitled bootleg cut came out not long after, and you couldn't get that in the UK, so I ordered it off Play USA. Can you remember that website?
Play USA. Yeah.
And that made me fall in love with the film even more. 40 more minutes of time on the road, more music, scenes from which we will be talking about on this show, I'm sure.
Yeah.
I think it's the ultimate movie about music. It tells the incredible, partly true story of one of the most unbelievable careers in popular culture from Cameron Crowe.
Yes.
It's been with me for over 25 years and it'll be with me for the rest of my life, I'm certain.
Nice. Lovely.
Almost Famous was written and directed by Cameron Crowe, produced by Crowe and Ian Bryce for Vinyl Films and Columbia Pictures, and distributed into theatres by DreamWorks Pictures on September 15, 2000. Shot on location across America and on sound stages at Sony Pictures Studios, it stars Patrick Fugit as our teenage hero William Miller, Kate Hudson as Penny Lane, Billy Crudup as Russell Hammond, and Frances McDormand as William's mother Elaine. And they're supported by, hold on to your hats,
Here we go.
Jason Lee, Philip Seymour Hoffman, Zoe Deschanel, Anna Paquin, Fairuza Balk, Noah Taylor, Jimmy Fallon, and Bijou Phillips, and many, 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 many more.
Many more. Stacked.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Crazy.
So you ready to be transported to a simpler time, fellas?
Absolutely. Let's do
Always.
it.
We're picking up with the Miller family in the opening scene of Almost Famous.
The beginning.
The Cameron Crowe handwritten titles transition into late 60s San Diego with Alvin and the Chipmunks, where we're introduced to a young William Miller, his mother Elaine, and his incredibly frustrated sister Anita. To begin with, that is a bold choice to start off a film about music, the Chipmunk song, Alvin and the Chipmunks. And this stretch of scenes lays down all of the pipe that fuels the rest of the film, that desire to break free from what's holding you back. Anita is fit to burst.
Yeah.
Itchy feet.
I imagine that she was the same as William was when she was 11, just trying to please her mother, talking eloquently about To Kill a Mockingbird. As we'll mention numerous times, I'm certain the film is semi-autobiographical. Elaine Miller is based on Crowe's own mother, Alice, who was a professor as well.
Yeah.
She approved of the script apart from one element, the fact that Elaine walked around the house barefoot. She said she would never do that.
That's the only thing. And Crowe said, just troubled by the fact that people will think she went barefoot, which is kind of like saying, well, the murder is fine, but you had me commit the murder in a red dress, and I would never wear red.
Harsh on his mother.
Really harsh.
And Alice did pay a visit to set during filming. Crowe had made a promise not to bother Frances McDormand, who was busy playing a version of her. But Crowe turned his back for one moment, and there she was, all over McDormand like a rash.
Yeah, I think she was concerned about how she was going to come across. McDormand confronted her by saying that she wasn't going to play it like Alice and she wasn't going to play it like Frances. It would be something completely different. And Alice was satisfied. I can see Frances McDormand doing that with absolute authority.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Then back at home, there's this wonderful juxtaposition between William and Anita. Anita sneaking home, but it's not late at night, it's in the middle of the day.
Yeah.
And we find out that, unlike our expectations, she's not been drinking or be out with boys, even though Elaine thinks she's been kissing, and she knows who she's been kissing. But she's sneaking in, hiding a record in her coat. And it's Bookends by Simon and Garfunkel. It's not Led Zepp 1 or Let It Bleed.
No,
it's the
Black
most
Sabbath.
inoffensive album she could have.
Yeah.
That's how much of her own opinion that Elaine has exerted on the family that they can't listen to Simon and Garfunkel.
God, yeah, imagine.
And I do love that close-up of the album, that slow push in as Elaine's fingers tap accusingly at Paul Simon and Garfunkel, who she claims are on pot.
Yeah.
I mean, she's right.
Yeah, of course she is.
I just think these are incredibly powerful experiences for William, helping to shape his desire to see the world, particularly that moment when Anita leaves. There are no desperate floods of tears or changes of mind. She's out the door faster than a speeding bullet.
Yeah.
And this scene of Anita leaving the family home is another lifted directly from Crowe's own life. His real sister did leave home, and Crowe has a photograph of her with her first boyfriend leaving the house with curlers still in her hair because she was that excited to get out.
Amazing. That's a really strange choice to have those curlers. I've often wondered why that was in
really
there, but
striking,
obviously
isn't
that
it?
makes sense.
Yeah.
So for the shot of the car driving away with Zoe Deschanel looking back at young William, they played America on set during filming. Amazing. Crowe said it was the marriage made in heaven, her face, that song and that shot. And that's John Toll very casually just making your dreams come true as the master EP. He's not wrong.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's probably the best shot in the film.
It is.
Anita's parting line, "One day you'll be cool," was a big one for Crowe. Deschanel said they shot it about 40 times because Crowe liked to give himself plenty of options in the edit. Then, after wrapping the scene, Crowe later told her, "So, you know that one that I made you do like 40 times? Do you know which take I used? The first one?"
First one.
Yes, the first one.
Just wanted to hear her say it.
Yeah.
So Anita leaves poor old William chained to his mother's ideals, but she does leave him her record collection, which he fondles, unusually. Those are Crowe's own personal LPs.
Nice.
He filmed that scene loads of times as well with albums in different order, but Pet Sounds was always first. He said, "That album is the sweetest sad thing I've ever heard." I don't disagree.
It's up there.
Not wrong.
And that's the start of his education.
Yes, and then we jump forward to him as a teenager, and then we meet his mentor. And this is just one of the truly great character introductions you'll ever see. Lester Bangs doing that radio interview, bouncing around the place. He can't sit down, just the sheer charisma that Hoffman has here. It's just off the scale. I mean, it's not too early for Iggy Pop for him. It is for everyone else, not for him. Iggy Pop's fine. Amen. Yeah. An extra bonus marks for his opinion of the Doors, which I 100% agree with.
Yeah,
just
buffoon. Give me the guess who.
Buffoon.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So instantly you can see why he is so attractive to William, because this is the guy he wants to be. Lester's smart and he's funny, but he's honest more than anything, and he's just instantly confident to be in his presence. Like when William points out the rest of his school all hate him, Lester's reply, yeah, well, you'll meet them all again on their long journey to the middle. I mean, to hear that at that young age, that's just the kind of retort you want to give people. Not only are you going to go to the middle, you're taking the long way to get there. It's such a brilliant line. I love that line of dialogue so much.
Yeah, it's great.
But it's so funny when Lester tries to wrap it up. He says, you know, nice to meet you. Keep sending me your stuff, but I can't stand here all day talking to my fans. And then that hard cut to them sitting in the cafe still talking. So he obviously does still have time. So you can obviously see why William is so enraptured, because everything he's saying is so truthful. And the way that Hoffman plays it, Lester is so caught between being cynical about the business, but he still loves music so much, and he can't help but be charmed by how eager William is. You know, I can see what you want. And it's like, right, I'm going to send you on your way to do this. This is what you need to do. This is how you need to approach it. But I've warned you about all this stuff. I've given you all the lessons. And he's just so amused by it all. And what I'll always say about the scene, I've said time and time again, there's just that tragic melancholy underneath of what would happen to Hoffman when he says, you take drugs. No, smart kid. It's just a killer every time.
Oh, it really is.
Yeah.
An idea of perfect casting for me, this. This is Philip Seymour Hoffman as Lester Bangs.
Yeah.
They know the letter by the box tops is 1 minute 58 seconds long, but it takes them under 2 minutes to accomplish what Jethro Tull takes it hours to not accomplish.
Yes? No.
No. That is one of my... Yes?
No.
When he's prancing around to search and destroy, man.
Yeah, that is so good. It's like Jack Black based his whole career on that performance in the radio station. It's like that's School of Rock, all of that.
Yeah,
it is. Just Jack Black and School of Rock.
When it came to casting Lester Bangs, Crowe felt the pressure more than for any other role because Bangs was his mentor. Bangs was real, and Bangs had died in 1982 of an accidental overdose while trying to self-medicate his way through a bad bout of flu. More on that in a moment. Crowe said, Lester was such a huge personality and a major guy in my life. I could hear his voice in my head saying, get it right.
Yeah. A few names went through the door. Jack Black, there you go, and John Favreau. It would have been great. And there were other names, but none of them landed for Crowe. Both Crowe and casting director Gail Levin both agreed that the ideal actor would be Philip Seymour Hoffman if they could get him.
So the pitch went out, Hoffman read the script, but he wasn't sure he could squeeze it into a schedule. Crowe managed to persuade him and said that he'd need 2 days of rehearsal. Hoffman paused and then replied, you may only need a couple of hours, but Crowe stood his ground on needing the 2 days. Yeah,
so Hoffman flew to LA wearing a leather jacket, but as Crowe put it, he looked more like a rock critic than an actor playing a rock critic. He looked the real deal.
Yeah.
And they sat down and started talking about the script, about the commercialization of music. Then he went into this rant about a billboard Hoffman had passed on the way over, Scorsese in an American Express commercial. Crowe didn't know it at the time, but Hoffman was providing his interpretation of Bangs right in front of him.
Right, amazing.
And after about 2 hours of talking, Crowe had a realization. He said, I looked at Phil, and at a certain point, he was sitting on a sofa, and I was struck by this one thought. He's ready. If we had a camera, we could have filmed that moment. I looked at the clock, and it was 2 hours exactly. And Hoffman laughed and said, told you.
Oh, yes.
Yes. Yeah. And when he turned up to film his scenes, Hoffman was absolutely battered with the flu. Ironic, considering that the cause of the real Bangs' demise, which is, it's pretty awful. He had 4 days on set and got through all 4 of them. Patrick Fugit said he was totally fucking exhausted, dehydrated, and obviously very nauseous, and had to step away basically just to vomit during takes. You cannot tell that at all, really. No. It's amazing.
No, you can't. No.
So the first big scene with Hoffman as Lester Bangs takes place at the Sun Cafe in Hollywood. That's the exact same corner where Crowe first met the real Lester Bangs as a teenage rock journalist.
Amazing.
Crowe watched the scene being filmed from across the street, listened on a headset. He got a chill that Hoffman sounded exactly like him.
Amazing.
Yeah.
The whole experience left Crowe so moved that he called up David Geffen, then head of DreamWorks, just to thank him for green lighting the film. Crowe said, I just got him on the phone and said, I'm really, really happy we're making this movie, and I just can't believe what you brought me to this day where I can film Philip Seymour Hoffman as Lester Bangs. And David Geffen said, Jerry Maguire was what brought you there. I have to go. And he hung up.
Would have been mint if Kevin just went, show me the money, and just hung up. And Fugit found Hoffman a touch intimidating to share the screen with, which is understandable.
Yeah.
Hoffman would get into sort of an older brother headspace and tell Fugit he needed to step up. He also gives the 16-year-old a slightly disheartening speech about the art of filmmaking being on its last legs, with everyone destined to be replaced by animation.
I mean, he sounds like Lester Bangs.
Of course he does.
Yeah.
So here we go, an assignment. Yes, very nice. Don't do drugs. Love that. This moment when he goes down and he opens the door. I've shot some gigs as a photographer, and you get to this moment and you say, I'm here for such and such, and you're not on the list, which has happened a couple of times. It's so disheartening.
Really amazing.
And you're just like, oh shit, but at least I've got a mobile phone and I can check an email, and I kind of go, but he's got nothing. He's like, I've just a copy of Cream magazine.
A copy of magazine that he could have just bought.
He's just like, look, I'm with these guys. And he's just shut down straight away. He does look too young to be in. I think the doorman's doing a great job, let's be honest.
Definitely.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But we get the introduction to the Band-Aids here, and we get this big speech, and they're about the music, and they're not about the sex, and they're not about all the drugs and everything else. But you
just
find out that they really are. Just blowjobs, that's it. But they've got this real like elegance to them, and we're here for the music. Then Black Sabbath turn up, and they're like, it's Sabbath! And they're just like climbing on the car. I love that kind of juxtaposition between the two. That's really great. And then you get the bus turn. They get in. I'll see what I can do. You know, does anybody remember Laughter? That's great, which is like that Robert Plant quote. And then that bus rolls up, and you just hear them just shouting and screaming and just arguing with each other. And he's just focused on Russell walking past him. He's like, there's the guy. He's like, right, great. And they're just standing there, brain on the door. He gets in with them. And I just love these moments, especially, I mean, I've literally lived with the untitled version. I don't watch the other version at all. If I'm going to watch it, I watch the long version. Mm-hmm. So I watch that, and I just absolutely love kind of the Allman Brothers roadie in there, Red Dog giving it and just these extra little bits where Russell's a little bit more popular than Jeff, and there's just them little touches is lovely. But I love it when it cuts to the dressing room and his mic's not long enough. William's mic's not long enough. It's great. And he's just kind of shit, and he's just pointing it wherever you want. And you've got Jason Lee here just absolutely on fire.
He's so cooking, isn't he?
He's just, it's just great. He just shines all the way through, and he's just like, music, rock and roll can save the world shtick. I absolutely love it because he's just diving into this. It's amazing.
The chicks, the whatever.
It's all part of the vibe, man. It's just absolutely brilliant. It's the Rush, and he's just putting like moisturizer in his hair. Yeah. Great. But then you've got that whole thing backstage, and then Williams just introduces Penny to Russell, and there's that lovely moment. And you've got Joni Mitchell playing in the background.
Oh, my God.
Rivers playing in the background.
Forget about it.
It's just wonderful from that moment. You just see that tension between them, but that understanding between them. And I just love Fugit's reaction here and his emotional backwards and forwards. And then it's just a great, great gig entrance. Just stand over there, walking in, boom, Fever Dog. It's just wonderful. It's probably one of the best kind of openings. And I watched The Star Is Born, and I'm going, yeah, you've totally ripped that off Almost Famous. That walk on at The Star is exactly the same. Yeah. You just get the excitement, you get the vibe, you get the feeling. You understand why these girls are standing at the side of the stage. You understand why William's standing at the side of the stage, and he has just been injected now with that buzz that Jeff was talking about. It's that there's the buzz, and he's got it now. He's part of it.
The Stillwater of the movie isn't one specific band. Crowe said they're a mashup of all the acts that he spent time with during his Rolling Stone days. Greg Allman, in his autobiography from the Allman Brothers Band, he took some credit. He said that a few of the film's beats came straight from Crowe's time with the Allman Brothers.
Hard for it not to, let's be honest.
Yeah. Without doubt.
Totally remind me of Free, though. It might just be because
Jeff, isn't it?
It's just because Jeff looks like me. Yeah.
Jeff was modelled on Paul Rodgers.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Good job Russell wasn't modelled on like Kossoff, just a tiny guy. Too sweet for the world.
Kossoff back again.
Yeah. But there was a slight issue with the name, though, because there was a real band called Stillwater. They were a fairly obscure southern rock outfit, and they'd put out a couple of albums in the 70s. So the lawyers had to get involved to smooth it over. And one of the band members later said they got a little bit of change out of it.
Nice.
Yeah, I mean, it's a great name.
It is a great name.
Yeah.
Yeah. The rasping lead vocals you hear coming out of Jason Lee's mouth as Jeff Beebe are not actually Jason Lee, believe it or not. They're Marty Fredrickson, a session musician and songwriter who's worked with Aerosmith. The one exception is the moment Jeff finds out Stillwater are going to make the cover of Rolling Stone and the band starts singing the cover of Rolling Stone. That's Jason Lee's own voice. Which sounds
because
like
it sounds like Jason Lee.
Because it sounds like Jason Lee, yeah. Yeah.
That pre-show huddle that William gets pulled into by the band's based on real life as well. Crowe got pulled into one of Pearl Jam's pre-show huddles during the Lollapalooza tour.
Nice.
It's all based in reality.
Yeah.
And also, one of the best lines in the film is a mistake. When Penny asks William if he wants to come to Morocco with her, William says, yes. Ask me again. And that second half wasn't scripted. It was Fugit stepping out of character and asking Kate Hudson to repeat her line so he could do another take. But Crowe loved the way it played and just kept it in the cut.
That's great.
Yeah,
it
it's
really
Amazing
works.
moment. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
Total innocence captured on screen. It's amazing.
It really is.
Yeah.
It really
Absolutely
is.
what it is.
So as we're backstage with the band, we've got our first Patreon question. And that's one of the benefits, like we mentioned at the top. If you become an ATRM patron, you can ask us questions. This first one comes from Taryn Marshall. Hi, Taryn.
Hi, Taryn.
Hi, Taryn.
She says, Almost Famous is my second favourite film of all time. Love to know what the first one is.
Oh,
Almost favourite.
Lovely. She says, I can't imagine anyone other than Kate Hudson as Penny Lane, although the film is massively quotable. In my opinion, the best moments are where the audience instantly understand the character's feelings with no dialogue at all. When Penny is reunited with Russell backstage at Black Sabbath, when William tells her she was traded to Humble Pie for $50 and a crate of beer. You mentioned on the Lord of the Rings episode about Gandalf, when Frodo says he'll take the ring. What other moments in film stand out as managing to evoke emotional understanding from the audience without dialogue? Great question, Taryn. Thank you.
Yes, it's a great question.
Westy, over to you first.
There's the end of Braveheart when he screams freedom, and you've got Brendan Gleeson and David O'Hara in the crowd. It's when David O'Hara just shuts his eyes.
Yeah.
And he's like, nice. And he's stuck to his guns. Absolutely love that. All of the final scene of The Graduate when they're on the bus.
Yeah.
All right, great.
Incredible.
Great
because
choice.
it just really kind of disappears, doesn't it? It's just that dissipation
It does.
without any dialogue. Any dialogue there would have fucking ruined it completely.
It would.
Perfect.
You can tell what they're thinking.
Yeah.
Which is
And
shit.
similarly,
Fuck, what have we done?
The elevator scene in Drive every single time
yes.
is wonderful, and especially when he just turns around just to look at her and she realizes what he's done. And the last one I've got, I promise, is the wink at the end of Life is Beautiful, which is one I know Matt would be like, yeah, fair enough. Just that wink, and then just the way he marches off. Just that moment is like, oh God, and the kid winks back. It's like he's just keeping hope alive just until the very last moment. It's just
lovely.
what a moment that it cuts me in half every time.
Oof,
Breaks
some
me out every
absolute
time,
blinders there, Westy.
Yeah, thank you, mate. That's kind of my forte, that little number. It's a wonderful question. Thank you so much for that.
Over to you, Matt. Silent moment.
One I mentioned relatively recently when we covered It's a Wonderful Life, the moment where Harry comes home on the train and George realises how he's got a better offer.
Yeah.
He's going after to St. Bedford Falls, and it's just that close-up on James Stewart's face.
Yeah.
And he's just thinking it over, and he's like, I can't let Harry turn this down. But that means
Dreams
I'm stuck at
ruined.
Bedford Falls for
Yeah.
life.
Great,
In like
great
a few
one, that.
seconds, amazing moment that.
Yeah, brilliant.
I think a director and actor combo who are brilliant at this are Alexander Payne and Paul Giamatti, because there's two from them.
Great.
There's the end of Sideways when they're at Jack's wedding, and Miles is there, and he's talking to his ex-wife. You know, he's still carrying this flame for her. And he asks her, oh, why aren't you drinking? Because she turns down champagne, and she goes, I'm pregnant. And you can just see his heart shatter because he's still holding out a little bit of hope, and they don't have kids together.
Yeah.
And the brilliant thing is, I read this interview with Paul Giamatti, and he said Alexander Payne's direction was really simple. He just said to me, just keep smiling. That was the only direction he got, and that's amazing.
Right.
And it's the same at the end of The Holdovers when Hunnam has like thrown himself under the bus so Angus doesn't get kicked out of college and get sent into military school so he'll go to Vietnam. So basically, he saved his life, essentially.
Yeah.
Their goodbye. Because Hunnam, he goes in, and for a split second, it looks like he wants to hug him, but he pulls back and he just gives him this really firm handshake instead. And then they give each other this look of like, yeah, I know what you did for me.
Yeah.
And I know you've ruined your life because of it.
That's
And he's so
beautiful.
thankful.
What a film.
Yeah,
it's an
great
incredible film. It's that one, and then, I mean, Bob Hoskins in the back of the taxi in Good Friday.
Yeah,
Of course.
My
Bastard.
word.
Why didn't I get that one?
Yeah, my word, what a scene that is.
Yeah,
It's absolute. That is incredible. One of the greatest things I've ever seen.
yeah,
It is, yeah.
yeah.
So great that I didn't even think about it for this question.
Neither of you two had that one. I'm amazed.
I was saving it for you. I was saving it for you.
Yeah, that's all yours,
fair
man.
enough. Fair enough.
Yeah, no, I didn't think of the most iconic moment of Bob Hoskins' career. What I
best
thought
moment,
was
yeah.
the end of Witness with Kelly McGillis and Harrison
Right.
Ford.
Did you?
That was the first thing that came to my mind.
Wow.
Because they love each other, but they recognize they could never be together
Yeah,
because
yeah.
they
Oh,
come
it's a
from a
beautiful
completely
moment.
different
It
world.
is. Yeah, it's wonderful.
And it could never work. All of that from a look between two actors, no words. It's really beautiful stuff. Great storytelling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And my last one is the ending of Lost in Translation. The moment where Bill Murray whispers something to Scarlett Johansson. We never know what it is.
No.
You take from a film what you bring to it, so your interpretation of what he says is what he says, I suppose.
Yeah.
It's incredibly powerful filmmaking.
Yeah, it is. It's whatever you want it to be. So
exactly,
that
yeah.
makes it really personal, which is a wonderful
It
thing.
does.
I would like to think he just said it's Santori time and then got in the taxi.
That's a great question. Thanks, Taryn.
Yes, thank
Thank
you.
you.
So William has entered the shadowy world of rock and roll, and things will never be the same again for him.
Nope.
After writing his article, William and his newfound friend Penny Lane head out to the Riot House in LA to catch up with Stillwater before William joins the band on the road, courtesy of Rolling Stone magazine. Crazy.
Crazy.
Starting off with Penny picking William up and driving to Sunset Boulevard, which is a 3-hour car drive from San Diego.
Yes.
It's a long way.
Yeah.
You can see that William is in awe of Penny, and protest as she might, Penny is in awe of Russell, despite his girlfriend.
When Penny Lane drives William to the hotel to meet Stillwater, look at the windshield. The reflection on it forms the prism design from the cover of Pink Floyd's Dark Side of the Moon.
Yes, yeah, I remember watching that when it first came out, and I noticed that, and I thought I was like, hot shit. It's probably the most overt reference in the entire film.
Didn't remember the rest of the film, just kept that in your head. Wait till I
Just
tell
that,
people about this.
yeah, I know what that is.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then after the drive there, I love the sound of Rod Stewart crashing into the scene as they cross the road to the Continental Hyatt to the hotel.
Yeah.
Incredible. The hotel known as the Riot House in the 70s because of how debauched things got there.
Right.
By the time Crowe came to film, the lobby had since been remodeled, so the set designers had to rebuild the original.
So to get the carpet design right, they watched This Is Spinal Tap, because that had filmed there back in 1984. And after digging into old floor plans, they found that an entire ornate marble staircase had been hidden behind a wall during the remodel. And the hotel let Crowe actually knock the wall down, and there stood the staircase ready for its second screen life.
That's incredible, isn't it?
Unreal.
There's a moment in the hotel where William peers into a room and he sees a man and a woman playing a duet, singing Face to Face together. That couple is a homage to Graham Parsons and Emmylou Harris. Played in the film by musicians Pete Droge and Elaine Summers, Crowe asked Droge to write an original song for the scene that would sound like Parsons. And the result is called Small Time Blues. You can see the whole song played out for this scene online. There's only about, 5-10 seconds in the film, but the whole song is out there to watch.
Oh, wow.
Nice.
What I don't love about this scene is the clear ages of the Band-Aids. Anna Paquin as Palexia Aphrodisia. I mean, she looks like a child,
Yeah, I mean,
which is horrible.
Yeah.
And that really leaves a bad taste. But she is great here in this scene, revealing the real reason that Penny is here for Russell and that William is being played,
yeah.
which is a bitter pill to swallow.
Yeah.
But things are looking up when he gets a call from Rolling Stone magazine to do a piece on Stillwater, and William is up and running.
So yeah, back on the road, King of the Road motel
Yes.
lobby. And when they get there, you can just see how intoxicating it is for William, but so confusing at the same time, because there's still so many barriers that he's got to navigate to get what he wants, because it's this whirlwind of people around him. It's the band, it's the management, it's the Band-Aids, but there's the Scream and fans as well. But the great thing is, for him, he's not part of them anymore. He's kind of dragged himself into this inner circle, but still not as much as he wants, because Jeff still doesn't completely trust him. Although the fact that he would quite like the front cover of Rolling Stone anyway just makes him a bit of a hypocrite. It's like, make your mind up. You want him around or not. And even when he tries to talk to Russell, he gets the brush off, go away. I'm in too truthful a mood. I love that line.
Yeah.
And what makes our West William, though, is Penny is in that room with Russell, because you can see as soon as he first set eyes on her, it's this instant crush. But as helpful as she's been to William, he's just like a little brother to her, and that's all he'll be. And it's never going to be reciprocated. But William can't see that because he's too intoxicated. So everywhere he looks, he's making progress, but nowhere near close enough. And there's also one of my favourite little character moments in this scene when the guy in reception calls William over. You have a message from Elaine, your mother. Yeah. She's a handful.
That's great.
It is. It's absolutely brilliant.
So McDormand's shadow is just all over the film, even when she's not in it.
It is.
The note that she's written or she's gotten him to write out. Massive block capitals, don't take drugs, and he quickly closes it.
Yeah. Better be fucking him when I fucking call again. We'll be fucking elder pie.
Harry. Part of this stretch in Tempe, Arizona is the radio interview scene, which didn't make it onto the theatrical version, but is in the untitled cut. Carl Glass of Tenacious D plays the DJ.
Yes. Yeah.
It's almost certainly a reference to Neil Young's song On the Beach lyrics. I went to the radio interview, but I ended up alone at the microphone.
Yeah.
It's got to be.
Right.
It's got to be.
Yeah.
Crowe loved the scene, but the studio had concerns. It was the first time that they came on set after a month and a half of filming, and they witnessed a scene of smoking fake pot and laughing at words like feces and smegma.
Fair enough, yeah.
You've got one chance on the mic with it. Feces. Well, we've got William in there. He's got yet another assignment. I love jumping on these assignment scenes. But he's got to get one-to-one with Russell. And I love this moment because you see straight through him, but you also see the fear that's attached and the power that William's got that he doesn't understand that he's got that yet. He understands it towards the end, but he can be dangerous to all of them. His question is just so innocent. Just what do you love about music? I think he genuinely wants to know.
Yeah.
You know, and then Russell just says, shut that off and I'll tell you the truth. Like, you know, the truth is just, it's not to be recorded. The truth is not to be remembered. I trust you, so I'm going to lay this right on you. Just make us look cool. That's probably the most honest I've ever heard a musician on film, because that's what they all want you to do, to be honest. I mean, if you take photographs of them, as I have done, it's literally, that's the unspoken word. That's the secret in the room. It's like, we want to look good and we want to look cool. Everybody does, and that's just the whole point. And that's what Lester says, and that was his job to do that. And it's almost like the more you like someone, the more you'll go to the effort to make them look cool.
Yeah.
All William has in his arsenal at this moment is, I will quote you warmly and accurately. And then Russell's like, that's what I'm afraid of. That's what you can't do. You need to be able to understand what cool is so you can put a cool spin on it and make us cooler than we actually are ourselves. You've got to be a cool writer. And he's trying to convince him to be somebody else. And William doesn't really want to be. And you get that because there's just this conflict between fantasy and reality. Some of us have girlfriends at home. Some of us have wives at home. Reality. But we're here. We're in a pool. We've got the chicks, you know, whatever. And we've got everything that we need here. We'll go on stage, someone hands you the guitar. It's just this fantasy world, and it's a beautiful dream. And I think that's why so many musicians, especially going on tour for so long, even now, imagine walking away like headlining Glastonbury and then just going home.
Doing the shopping.
Then you wake up on Tuesday and you're like, you know, what's going on? You know, because I've got friends who've played big gigs like that and they just come back to it and you just think, well, where do you go? What do you do? You've got to have that moment where you just completely have to embrace reality and understand that fantasy is not your life. But what Russell's done here is fantasy's his life. And he just misses the reality of it. And then when Russell turns around and says, I'm telling secrets to the one guy you don't tell secrets to, that's the one thing he shouldn't have said, ironically, because William knows that he has a power, but he doesn't take that and run with it, but the audience does. So we're now in control. It's really brilliant writing from Crowe. I absolutely love this scene.
Yeah, it's great writing.
And the moment where Russell tells William to just make us look cool, Crowe was really meticulous about getting that right. Crudup said he wanted to get the ambiguity right, whether or not Russell is taking advantage of William or William is giving license to Russell. If everything that Lester Banks has taught William is actually true, in that moment we're seeing it play out.
Yeah.
It's great. It's a great power dynamic.
Yeah, it's great.
It was a line that was there since the first draft. Glenn Fry of the Eagles said it to Crowe once when he toured with the band.
Yeah, you can totally see Glenn Fry saying that.
So there you have it. William Miller swept up in a whirlwind of rock and roll decadence, doing exactly the thing that Lester Bangs warned him not to do. A breathless opening act.
Yes.
Definitely.
The director.
Cameron Crowe in the hot seat for Almost Famous, his fourth directing gig, but his life moved in mysterious ways well before the turn of the century.
Yeah.
Westy, your thoughts on his work as director here?
It's a Cameron Crowe film. It's it's one of the first things he writes down, and you could tell that he's all over this. You know, his handwriting, his memories, his film. He can do what he wants now. Like we say, he's got Jerry Maguire in the can. He's proved his point. He's made the money. And this is totally what he wants to do and what he wants to say. And this film is just absolutely layered with authenticity. And that comes down to Crowe and his experiences. It's very rose-tinted and it's very soft in places. And it's very much like, you're not going to get a spelk from this wood. It's just been very, very nicely,
very smooth,
very smoothly sanded down. And you're just going to feel all right with it. You might feel a little bit uncomfortable, but the most uncomfortable you're going to feel is a little bit off balance. And that's really Cameron Crowe. And that's been his films all the way through. I mean, he's dealt with really, really intense themes in it. I mean, I've never seen We Bought a Zoo, but I can imagine fuck all happens to that zoo with any kind of...
Doesn't burn down, does it?
No, nothing's really going to happen. Maybe one elephant dies or something as another one gives birth somewhere else. And I think that's Cameron Crowe's direction, because I think he wanted everyone to sit through this and have a good time. Oh, that overdose scene was just harrowing. It was too hard to watch. He's never, ever going to bring that into his, what I would call his memoir, his autobiography, his baby. And that's what it is. And he treats it with kid gloves. And that's great. That's wonderful. But sometimes I need a bit more of a challenge if I'm going to watch a film. I went into this not expecting a challenge and being absolutely over the moon with it. It's a fair play to Cameron Crowe to keep this as accessible as he has without it being like a universal, suitable for all film where there's no language, there's nothing bad happens, he's just gone through it. He does address them themes, and I think it's to his credit that he can address them themes and keep a light touch with it. But at the same time, I do think that's a slight detriment to the film. I would like to see a little bit more of a bit more of a turn of the knife somewhere. But again, that's his direction. It's just it's not something that attracts me, but it's something that I am very much appreciative of, and I have respect for it.
It's a lot more soft edge than you would expect a music biopic of a rock band from the 70s.
Yeah, exactly.
Like you were saying, Westy, a lot of the film is drawn from Crowe's formative years as a teenage rock journalist for Rolling Stone magazine in the early 70s.
And like William Miller, Crowe was a smart kid. He skipped kindergarten in 2 grades in elementary school, which meant by the time high school came along, he was a few years younger than everyone else in his class. And
like William, he was a bit of an outsider for that particular reason. That no pubes scene from the untitled cut, that actually happened to Crowe, and his actual response was, I had him and I shaved them off, and everybody started laughing.
Yeah, nice. It's meant when he's born in the car, it's like, hey, pubes!
So Crowe buried himself into music, writing reviews for his school paper, which led to pieces for the underground mag, the San Diego Door. And he also started writing letters to Lester Bangs at Cream magazine, who, again, took him under his wing.
Nice.
You can feel how personal it is.
Yeah. His big break came on New Year's Day, 1973, when he was 15. He met editor of Rolling Stone magazine, Ben Fong Torres. Crazy.
Crazy.
At a Rolling Stones gig, and sweet talked his way into his first assignment for the magazine, an interview with country rock band Poco. Torres assumed Crowe was in his 20s. To this day, Crowe is still the youngest correspondent the magazine has ever had.
Wow.
Not surprised.
Yeah.
That's great. And in his music career, he interviewed all the greats: Dylan, Neil Young, Bowie, Clapton, Led Zeppelin, The Who, Elton John, Peter Frampton, Lynyrd Skynyrd, The Eagles. The list went on and on and on.
Wow, yeah. So his first cover story was on the Allman Brothers Band, who he spent 3 weeks on the road with at the age of 16. And that tour is the foundation that Almost Famous is built on. Crowe said, it was the first time I left home for any length of time, and I was calling my mom from the road, telling her I'd be gone just one more day. Yeah, right.
Wow.
Yeah, just one more day, Mom.
Insane.
Yeah.
Hey, Mom, it's Greg Allman.
And also, like William Miller, Crowe did get burned in the process. After the final show in San Francisco, Greg Allman called him up to his hotel room and told him to bring all the interview tapes. Crowe said he answered the door looking like he was just in another place. Fucked up doesn't do it justice. I had never been more scared in my entire life.
Wow.
Yeah, Allman got spooked. He was convinced that Crowe was a cop. So he took the tapes and he left him with nothing to write about.
Wow.
How do we know you're not a cop?
The enemy. Stop looking at me.
Crowe was saved when a photographer he was working with was sent to Hawaii to retrieve the tapes. By then, Allman had no memory of ever taking them, and when the fact-checkers in the magazine went to Allman to verify Crowe's quotes, he initially denied the lot, but then he eventually came clean and backed Crowe up.
Nice.
But for the direction, I'm just blown away by how authentic, like you were saying, Westy, that Crowe's made this. I mean, it would have been a complete failure if he hadn't, considering his life. He'd lived on the road with all of these bands. But it's not a pastiche of a 70s film. It doesn't feel forced. This feels like it was actually made in 1973.
Yeah.
With so much love and affection for the road, for the music, for a simpler time. Every time I come back to this film, after I've seen it, I get an overwhelming sense of a longing for this era. An era I've never lived through.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
There's just a realism, isn't it? It's like what Oliver Stone did in Platoon for Vietnam.
Yeah.
It's the same feel.
Slightly different tone.
Slightly different tone, but you know.
Platoon.
That's the grit I'm talking about.
Yeah.
But I think that's a great testament to how Cameron Crowe brought it to the screen. He makes you feel like you are there on the bus with the band. He brings you in and gives you access to this almost mythical world.
Yes.
This really feels like hanging out with old friends, complete with arguments, laughs, awkwardness, love and loss, togetherness, the whole family thing. And what really gets me is the warmth. It's not looking down its nose at the 70s or winking at the audience about how silly this whole thing is.
No.
Crowe loves these people. He loves the band. He loves Penny and the Band-Aids. He loves the bickering and the bad decisions. There's no cynicism at all. And that's so rare in a film about rock and roll because the easy move is to show the dark underbelly and call it honesty. But Crowe went the other way. He shows the joy. And in doing that, somehow he tells you more about the world than a kind of tell-all ever could for me. I really love it. It's surprising. It's refreshing.
Yeah. So talking about the authenticity itself, each cast member was given a goodie bag of 70s rock magazines, a lot of them straight out of Crowe's own collection. That's brave. I wouldn't have done that.
Yeah. Not getting them back.
I'm not getting that back. He set them homework as well. They had to watch rock documentaries from the era like Mad Dogs and Englishmen, which captured Joe Cocker's 1970 tour of the States. That's incredible if you haven't checked that out. And The Song Remains the Same, which follows Led Zeppelin in 1973. Again, amazing.
Yeah, that's where the Does Anybody Remember Laughter come from.
That's right. Yeah, it is. He says on stage, doesn't he, though? He doesn't say it backstage.
Does. Matt, your opinion on Cameron Crowe's direction here?
I think the best way to look at it is just compare this to this whole like slew of music biopics we've had in the past God knows how many years, you know.
Yeah.
Bohemian Rhapsody, Springsteen, Michael, Complete Unknown, the list goes on. And not one of them has the heart or the insight that Crowe brings to an entirely fictional band. Like, true. Those films feel like it's just people dressing up for an episode of Stars in Their Eyes, and it's all about the wigs, and it's about the makeup. But none of that, see, the wigs don't feel like wigs, and the clothes don't feel like costumes, they feel real. And I think because Stillwater is a fictional band, Crowe doesn't feel the has to just play the predictable hits of those biopics where you know what dramatic beats are coming. Here, you don't know what's coming. Are they going to break up on the road? Are they going to make it big? Is William going to get his story published? It's not about building up to a big reunion comeback gig in front of hundreds and thousands of fans. Yeah. Because another great thing is we don't really know how good Stillwater actually are.
No,
are
we
they
don't.
destined for greatness, or are they just going to have this one hit with Fever Dog, this one cover, and then fade in obscurity? We don't know, because that's not the story Crowe wants to tell. He wants to take us on a different, more unpredictable journey. And he tells our journey with, as we're saying, complete authenticity.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And when it came to setting the tone, Crowe was inspired by an interview with Bowie guitarist Mick Ronson, who reminisced about the early 70s as a loving, naive time. That stuck with Crowe. He wanted to bottle that feeling of the time when rock music still felt personal before it became a global commodity. Definitely. That's definitely what this is. He's achieved that 100%.
Yeah. Without doubt, yeah.
And by the time Crowe came to make Almost Famous, he was well seasoned in Hollywood. He'd written Fast Times at Richmond High back in 1982 and stepped behind the camera for the first time with Say Anything in 1989. But the one that opened the door for Almost Famous was Jerry Maguire, which was Tom Cruise, $274 million in the bank, 5 Oscar nominations, Best Supporting Actor win for Cuba Gooding Jr. at the Oscars. All this meant Crowe was now hot property.
Yeah, he'd been working on the script for over a decade, more on that later, and he took the finished script around the studios, and it eventually landed on Steven Spielberg's desk at the relatively newly formed DreamWorks. Spielberg read all 172 pages over a weekend, rang Crowe on Monday telling him to direct every word, quote unquote.
Nice.
Get that from Steven Spielberg.
Yeah.
Yes.
That'll do. Okay.
Yes, Stephen, I will.
Crowe took that on board and shot pretty much the script he'd written word for word. And it was that radio interview scene that we talked about earlier where the suits got involved And Crowe later jokingly said, I think from then they said, just shoot every other word.
Nice.
And to get the band authentic on screen, Crowe sent Billy Crudup, Jason Lee, John Fedovich, and Mark Kozelek to what became affectionately known as Rock School. He brought in Peter Frampton as the film's authenticity advisor and head teacher, with Nancy Wilson of Heart fame, who was also Crowe's wife at the time, as deputy head. So in order to get in the groove together, the actors practiced 4 hours a day, 5 days a week for 6 weeks.
Love that.
Great.
Peter fucking Frampton.
Is that Peter fucking Frampton? Yeah, Crowe and Frampton go way back after Crowe did the liner notes for Frampton Comes Alive. Yeah. Frampton also wrote 2 of Stillwater songs himself. He said, most rock movies are never authentic. You'll have somebody supposedly in 1958 playing a 1990 guitar and a 1986 microphone. So we were sure to get the little things correct.
Nice. Really works.
That comes across.
Yeah.
So it may not have been his most commercially successful film, but Almost Famous is the ultimate love letter to his roots as a rock journalist, and for our money, Cameron Crowe's greatest cinematic achievement.
Definitely.
It is that.
The cast.
In our main cast, we've got the virtuosos with the pen and the guitar alongside the woman who has both their hearts. We're starting with the Golden God himself, Billy Crudup as Russell Hammond. Over to you, Westy.
Nice. Yeah, I mean, tash, hair, shirts, amazing. Straight in there. Fantastic. You want someone who's the guitarist with mystique. That's exactly what he brings to this. I mean, I love Crudup anyway in everything he's in, but I really, really do think he fits this part like a glove. It's just wonderful to see because he's got that swagger, but he's also, you believe he's a better musician, even though you can tell he's not really a musician, but you can tell he's better than everybody else.
Yeah, he looks good.
He has that persona that he owns, but there's this real fragile nature to the character that he could crack at any minute. That, you know, for a fact, his wife tells him everything that he has to do. And he's so happy to be away from that, and that he's just got a miserable life at home. He's got a miserable reality, and he wants to replace his reality with this dream. And you get all that from when he's talking to William at the pool, fair enough, but he just acts it out all the way through. And the fact that, you get the confidence of the character at the start to the point where he ends up on the tour bus just wrapped in a towel, and he's completely broken, he's completely fragile. And then at the end, when he's ringing Penny, he's completely empty and he's completely open, and he just wants honesty and he wants love and he wants affection and he wants to be the person that everyone wanted him to be in the first place. And he realizes everything that he's done wrong. And this isn't even his film. This isn't even about him.
Yeah. No, it's not.
He has all of these scenes and he has all of these beats and he has this performance that he has to kind of rise to and then dip and then rise and dip, but not overtake everybody else. And he doesn't. He fits in the band, but he's slightly higher.
Slightly
elevated, and he knows he is, but he's
in focus.
Exactly. But that's kind of the point, isn't it? Because he's separate from everyone when they're walking down to the stage door. He's kind of separate from everybody else. He's trying to live this life. William's plugged into that. It's just a wonderful turn from Crudup. He understands the assignment, knows exactly what he needs to do. He delivers when he needs to deliver. He reins it in when he needs to rein it in. It's just wonderful. It's just wonderful to see. And then when he straps that guitar on, he's just going to stand over there. And then Fever kicks in and he just does that.
Love that moment, Westy.
I just love that moment.
You love it.
Because that's, to me, like, that's his power play. That's where he is.
Yeah.
Like, if you're born to do something, that's where you're the most comfortable. I just can't think of anyone else in this part after seeing Crudup in it. He's just wonderful.
Agree.
And again, that Tash is unbelievable.
Great Tash.
Yeah.
Bangers and Tash. Love it.
Beautiful.
There's the album name.
Yeah, that's the album name.
Great Bangers and Tash.
Tash Mouth.
Mark Rampra Tash.
Nice. We could keep going. Why didn't you warn us about this? Why didn't you hit us with that one earlier? We could have come up with loads. I'll think of some as we go.
Okay, brilliant.
Yeah, Tash Browns. Right, let's go.
Mustache Sally.
Oh, yes, let's go, Tash Gordon. Let's go.
Corned beef Tash.
Oh, God. Oh, did you see that film about the medics in Vietnam? Tosh.
Oh. Anyway, back to Billy Crudup as
Exactly.
Russell Hammond. He's the epitome of the ultra cool lead guitarist.
Yeah.
Doesn't give interviews. Super cool, mystical. Love it.
Mm-hmm. Superb.
But Crowe's first choice for Russell Hammond wasn't Billy Crudup, it was Brad Pitt. And Pitt came incredibly close to playing the part. He'd been hanging out at Crowe's house, reading the script, working with the director for 4 months, trying to find the character.
Yes, incredible. Brad Pitt.
Wow.
Height of his powers. But Pitt eventually pulled out. Crowe reckons that he's still mentally somewhere else, coming off the back of Fight Club, and that the role wasn't quite there on the page for him. Casting director Gail Levin also hinted that the reasons might have been financial, and Crowe also said that Pitt didn't love the age difference between Russell and Penny.
Yeah, that's fair enough. Yeah.
Yeah.
Losing Pitt didn't worry Spielberg one bit. When Crowe rang him to tell him the news, Spielberg said, "The script is the star."
Yeah, very true.
Yep.
Steven Spielberg reaffirming your work left, right, and
Totally got
centre.
his back, hasn't he?
He has.
Crowe took it badly, though, but in his heart of hearts knew something didn't quite fit with Pitt. A few months later, Pitt rocked up to Crowe's office out of the blue, said the project had been on his mind, wished him luck, and left.
Ah, great. Nice
That's
touch.
fair enough. Yeah.
Christian Bale was the next name in the frame for Russell.
Wow.
And then Russell Crowe was also a possibility.
Right.
Russell Crowe. He would have loved that, wouldn't he?
Yeah. 30 feet of grunt.
Yeah, 30 feet. 30 feet of Tash. Russell Crowe.
But Crowe ended up going with Billy Crudup, who he later called a blessing in disguise.
Yeah, absolutely.
And Crudup already had a reputation for intense, layered performances on stage and in films, and Crowe wanted someone who could embody both the mythic golden god rock star aura and the very ordinary, conflicted human underneath.
Yeah, that's great. It's kind of what you were saying, Westy.
Definitely. Crowe flew him out to LA for an afternoon to work on the character. Crudup said for 4 hours he played the E string riff from Smoke on the Water while bringing the character to life. Just slow bringing the character to life, doesn't it? Dun, 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 dun.
Aside from Smoke on the Water, Crudup didn't play the guitar, but he learned quickly to make it look like he was a virtuoso. The actual guitar parts in Stillwater were played by Mike McCready from Pearl Jam.
Pearl Jam, yeah.
Oh, wow. And when the band took to the stage at the San Diego Sports Arena to shoot one of the early concert scenes, Crudup got a taste of the real thing. He said, when you have 1,500 people with that level of adulation focus on your interpretation, I can easily understand how people's egos get widely contorted.
Yeah, it's that kind of like godlike status.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah.
Crowe said that the character is mostly based on Eagles guitarist Glenn Frey, with a sprinkle of Robert Plant and Greg Allman in there too. Well, as we're on talking about Russell, he is our second Patreon question. This one is from Lucas. Hi, Lucas.
Hi, Lucas.
Hi, Lucas.
Lucas says, if ATRM was a band, what would the band name be, each member's instruments, and what genre of music? Matt, over to you.
Well, we're still ATRM, but we're all the right melodies this time around.
Oh, very
Oh,
nice.
there it is.
Yeah, there it is.
Very nice.
Yeah, so we've got John on bongos.
John Bongo. He'd love that
John
one.
Yeah,
Bongos.
on the bongo, he'd love that. Yeah. Luke, you're on sitar.
Sitar,
Wow.
very
Sitar.
nice.
Yeah, very nice.
Nice.
I'm on theremin.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
That makes perfect sense. How many songs have we got?
Yeah.
Sounds like a one-hit wonder, this, like brimful of Asher.
Well, Wesley, just wait, hear this. I've got you on panpipes.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. So I'm just seeing this as some kind of like electric jazz kind of combo with a bit of folk thrown in there as well.
Nice.
Nice. Lovely.
20-minute songs, nothing under 4 minutes.
Nice.
Oh,
Yeah,
lovely.
3 songs per album. That's it.
Yeah, so I'm traditional. I'm keeping with the rock movie theme. Our band name, Fade to Black.
Okay.
Oh,
Nice.
Hard-edged, like Zeppelin, but a little bit dirtier. We're not singing about Tolkien like Led Zepp. We're talking about director's cuts and Dutch angles.
oh, nice.
We've got Matt on bass. I knew you would love the Dutch angles.
I love that. That's the name of the album, Dutch Angles.
Dutch angles. Great. We've got Matt on bass because he's got great rhythm.
True.
John on skins, great timing.
Nice.
Westy, obviously it's lead guitar. You're a virtuo with Misty coming out your ears. That saved you from the panpipes.
Thank you.
Happy with that one?
Yes, I am.
Which I suppose that leaves me with Vox, Golden Tonsils. I'm only the fucking lead singer.
Amazing.
What about you, Westy?
Metal.
Okay.
Just metal.
Metal, that's it. I'm going to go for Westy and the Out of Focus Guys as the name. Centre stage, obviously. John on guitar, but rhythm guitar with occasional bits of lead.
So he's Ronnie Wood.
Ronnie Wood, he's layering the tracks. Matt on bass, so he's got that thump to it. Because me and Matt work very well together, so that's going to put me on drums. So we can wear the spine, we're in the pocket.
Yes.
But then again, that puts you on grand piano with Vox.
Love it, like Freddie Mercury.
Freddie Mercury, Billy Joel, Elton
love it.
John, all the big boys you enjoy. But we're going to play metal with you on a grand piano. Get over that one.
Just what I've always wanted to play, because I'm a massive metal guy.
Yeah.
Of course you are. I'll guide you through it. I'll be your Lester Bangs.
Okay.
Don't worry about
You'll
it.
be Lester Bangs.
But we're called Westy and the Out of Focus Guys, and the irony is I'm the drummer with the biggest drum kit you've ever seen, and you can't see me.
Brilliant. Brilliant.
So that's the irony of the
You're
name.
not going to spontaneously combust, are you?
We don't know yet. Well, we're first gig.
Yeah.
And with that question, a great one. Thank you, Lucas.
Yeah.
Thank you,
Thanks,
Lucas.
That wraps us up on Billy Crudup as Russell Hammond. A great performance, pulling off the cool 70s Axeman with ease.
Yeah, oh, absolutely.
Next is the kid that tells the story of Cameron Crowe's adolescence. It is Patrick Fugit as William Miller. Matt, it's over to you.
Crazy.
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 I think he's really, really good. I wouldn't necessarily put him up there on the list of like great debut performances or great child performances like Haley Steinfeld in True Grit or Henry Thomas in E.T. But what he's done in a debut role shouldn't be underestimated. And I always think the key thing with child performances, how do they go up against the acclaimed and the experienced adult actors here? And he's in scenes with Frances McDormand and Philip Seymour Hoffman and Billy Crudup, and never once do you feel he's been overwhelmed by them.
No.
Or the scene is dependent on them to make the scene work. He makes the scene work just as much as they do. And he holds his own in every scene. I mean, William certainly feels nervous or inferior. And Fugit gets that across in the performance, but that's not because he's inferior here at all. And I think in the wrong hands, this character could potentially be quite annoying because he is very precocious for his age. He's coming out with all the questions for the band like he actually is Lester Bangs, and he's got this huge crush on an older girl, which could just be embarrassing or cringy. But he sells it all because it's just this combination of naive innocence and intelligence, because he's clearly smart. He's definitely above his peers, but the crucial thing is he's not cocky about it. He's really, really geeky, which is what is kind of holding him back in this world. And he's funny, and there's some real laugh out loud moments here. Like, I will always laugh at his put on deep voice when he's talking to Ben and Rolling Stone over the phone. That works every time. Hello.
That's great.
That's really great. And he's really likable. Like when Russell yells at him when he's coming down off his acid trip, you really feel for him. When you think the band have sold him out by denying his story, then you are devastated for him. You can't believe they've done that to him. So yeah, great performance, and always worth remembering. Like I say, this is his debut, and that's saying a lot.
Yeah. Very genuine performance. Every time I watch it, I'm like, I'm quite happy for him to represent me as like a music nerd. If that was me at 15, that's fine.
Yeah.
Genuinely lovable as a character, and it's totally believable from Fugit, I think.
Yeah, I think he radiates warmth. I think he's great.
Oh, 100%, yeah. The casting of William Miller was a long old slog for Crowe. He and casting director Gail Levin sifted through hundreds of audition tapes looking for, in Crowe's words, a kid who could personify pure fandom and the look of a kid who'd run away and joined the rock and roll circus.
Brilliant.
He's found him. He's found him, definitely.
He has found him.
Yeah. And Patrick Fugit was a 16-year-old from Salt Lake City, and his only screen credit at that point was a TV movie set in Alaska called Legion of Fire, Killer Ants. So check that one out. Sounds amazing.
That's a great film.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
And he was a skateboarder, had a bowl cut, and actually wasn't much of a music fan. And Crowe described him as a pure soul, an authentic Utah kid.
Really lovable kid.
Yeah.
Fugit got involved when he went with his best friend to an audition for the part of William Miller. Fugit heard his friend doing his audition tape at his agent's and thought the scene sounded good. So he went home, made his own tape doing 3 of the audition scenes and sent it off. And then 2 months later, he got a call back. He and his mother got flown out to LA first class. No expense spared.
Nice.
Yeah, amazing. For the first 40 minutes, it wasn't really an audition at all. It was a music quiz. What did he listen to? What did he think of Led Zeppelin? What were the last records he bought? The audition scenes Crowe had sent out were written to be about a political journalist following a candidate on the campaign trail. Crowe had hidden the actual subject matter of the film to keep the role under wraps.
Great.
That would be a surprise.
Yeah.
So Fugit had no idea why the director was suddenly interrogating him about rock music.
Yeah.
Fugit said, I told him I wasn't really into music. I just said that I like Green Day and that I had a Chumbawamba CD.
Is this a new Green Day?
He also said that when he was asked about Led Zeppelin and Jethro Tull, he said, I don't really know his work. He thought it was just one guy. Didn't know there were bands. God bless him.
Yeah, amazing.
And Crowe played America by Simon & Garfunkel and filmed his reaction. He acted out the scene of Anita leaving home as Crowe followed him around the office with a camcorder.
A few weeks later, he was flown out for screen tests again, and by this point, Brad Pitt was still attached to play Russell Hammond. So Fugit said that Pitt put him at ease straight away. He asked him what he was into, and when Fugit said snowboarding, they got into talking about a video game called Cool Borders, and they bonded straight away.
Nice.
This put them on a great front to do the rehearsal scenes when Crowe came back into the room. I mean, I would have loved to seen that dynamic with him and Pitt.
Oh, yeah.
It would have been, I think it would have been great. Yeah. Totally different film, though.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. It doesn't work with Pitt for me.
It's too big. He's
too
far
big,
too
isn't he?
big.
Too famous. Yeah.
He is. Too
Ironically.
much.
Yeah. And the other big name in the running was Joseph Gordon-Levitt, but he was probably a bit too old. And Crowe wanted someone who hadn't done much, whereas Gordon-Levitt, he'd been in movies since the early 90s. And Fugit's naivety about rock music, his nerves, his general lack of polish, that was the entire point for Crowe.
Yeah, it comes across as awkwardness in front of all of these idols.
Yeah, exactly.
And Fugit developed a few on-set crushes, obviously. Most notably, Billy Crudup. No, that was me. Sorry. Most notably on Kate Hudson, who was 4 years older than him and aware of the situation. Fugit said, I was not slick. I was not good at concealing it, nor was I good at trying to capitalise on it. He also fancied Anna Paquin, Firuza Balk, and at least one of the other Band-Aids. He later said, I was a fickle 16-year-old. Amazing. Friend zone, Fugit.
Who did you fancy on set? Everyone, pretty much.
Everyone. Bijou Phillips, who plays Estrella, took it upon herself to be Fugit's bad influence on set. One of the mornings, she picked him up in a stolen golf cart on the promise that she was going to take him to set. Instead, they went joyriding down Sunset Boulevard in a stolen golf cart that had been modified to look like a Mercedes and belonged to DreamWorks. Bijou got into some shit for that one.
Not surprised. Yes, though.
Fugit grew 3 inches during filming, resulting in multiple costume changes. Near the end of filming, Crudup had to wear platform shoes to ensure continuity.
Oh, should have from the start.
You can still get them.
Yeah. Amazing.
So a great child performance from Fugit. A real revelation here is William Miller.
Yeah, he's great.
Finally, from an acting royalty family, but this isn't a case of Nepo baby by any stretch. Nope. It's Kate Hudson as Penny Lane. Mm-hmm. A star-making turn from Kate Hudson, who fought tooth and nail for the role. I think what she does incredibly well is embody that hippie chick chic, that seemingly impenetrable, ever so cool exterior.
Yeah.
Nothing bothers Penny. She's a beacon of light. She's a good time girl who never falls in love and floats through situations, charming the pants off everyone she comes into contact with.
Yeah.
She's almost maddening, the character, in that you don't get to the heart of the real person to begin with, at least.
Mm-hmm.
She's frustratingly aloof. She never lets her feelings known. You know, she's going to go on this fabulous trip to Morocco. Of course she is. She's wonderful like that. That Morocco thing, that's got to be a reference to Jackson Brown's song, Something Fine.
Oh, yeah.
If you've heard this song.
Yes, right.
But the road wears down. More than just the tread on the tour bus tyres, that mask that Penny wears begins to slip. And no matter how much she protests, she's uncontrollably in love with Russell. And when she gets her heart broken, it's really difficult to watch. And you can feel that on a couple of levels, I think. The one that we can all relate to, that unrequited love, but also the loss of the dream. Penny, like William, is in love with the band, the lifestyle, the music, the road, but it's a fake world for her. And as harsh as it sounds, she doesn't have the talent to be in this kind of world. She's a hanger-oner, essentially.
Yeah.
So when Russell rejects her, she loses the man and the life that she's so desperate to cling to.
Mm-hmm.
And look at her at the end of the film when Russell calls her up. She's in the kitchen, for goodness sake, domestic bliss. Yeah. That's not the Penny Lane that we know.
No.
But it is heartwarming because, you know, she's on her feet, she's fine, she isn't in a ditch somewhere. And that's that kind of clean edge that Cameron Crowe brings to this story.
Yeah, just fine. Look.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's not like Sharon Stone in Casino.
Oh, God, no.
Definitely not.
No.
I think the arc of the character for Penny Lane, it often goes unsaid or unnoticed, but it's really well played by Hudson. On top of that, she really just does light up the screen. She's got natural charm and natural talent. I mean, her mother is Goldie Hawn, for goodness sake.
Well,
Yeah,
there you
exactly.
go.
So obviously it's not surprising.
No.
But I think she's a real movie star in the making here.
Mm-hmm.
But she wasn't first in line. Originally, Sarah Polley was attached to play the part of Penny when Brad Pitt was on board as Russell. The two
Right.
of them haven't done read-throughs together. When Pitt left, Polley followed. Years later, she was quite candid about why she dropped out. She said, "I'm not Kate Hudson. I'm not like this beautiful movie star who walks in a room and every guy feels weak at the knees. I was the wrong person for that part."
Yeah.
Yeah. And Crowe had the feeling that Polley went to the Toronto International Film Festival and her friends got in her head about doing a Hollywood film and the implications it might have on her indie movie aspirations.
Right.
Doesn't stop her doing Dawn of the Dead remake, though.
That's true enough.
Yeah.
Straight in for that.
The list of actresses who auditioned to replace her is a who's who of late 90s talent. So check this out. Brittany Murphy, Mina Suvari, Anne Hesh, Neve Campbell, Maggie Gyllenhaal, Rose McGowan, and Kirsten Dunst all read for the part.
Wow.
Crowe was particularly keen on Dunst and ended up making her a promise that he'd cast her in something down the line. He kept his word. She was the lead in 2005's Elizabethtown.
Not really on the same level as
No,
Almost
sadly
Famous.
not.
That's an empty promise.
Yeah.
You'll notice that Kate Hudson isn't on that list that Westy has just gone through there. She was already cast as Anita, William's older sister.
Yeah.
Because pre-production took so long and there was a lot of chopping and changing in the cast. Hudson actually had to turn down at least 2 big movie roles that she was offered the lead in.
Wow.
Right.
She just wanted to be in a Cameron Crowe movie. She'd followed his career since Fast Times.
Right.
Fair
Nice.
enough.
When Polley left, Hudson asked Crowe if she could audition for Penny. He said no at first, but then relented. She auditioned and got called back around 4 more times.
But by that point, Gail Levin had had enough and basically ordered Crowe to just give her the part. And because of this, the knock-on effect is the part of Anita then went to Zooey Deschanel. And coincidentally, she'd actually been at high school with Hudson, but didn't know it. They'd been in a school production of Man of La Mancha together, but Crowe was none the wiser when he cast them both.
Wow.
Small world.
Hell, for coincidence.
I think ironically as well, this is the only film where Zooey Deschanel doesn't fucking sing.
Yeah,
She
yeah.
sings in every other role, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Even Jessie James should get something in there.
She does.
Crowe was hesitant with Hudson because she offered something different to what he was working on with Polley. It wasn't the mystical hippie vibe. He said that Hudson walked into a room and lights it up. He just needed a little convincing.
Glad he did.
Yeah, absolutely. Because she does when she's like, "Ladies and gentlemen."
Yeah.
She
walks
commands the room.
Yeah,
totally.
commands it, yeah.
Everyone just starts clapping. Yeah, fair enough.
And Penny Lane is an amalgam of a few different people. The main one is Penny Trumbull, and she was an Oregon-born teen who ran with a group of young women called the Flying Garter Girls, who followed the biggest rock bands of the 70s around on tour. Trumbull is the only one Crowe has officially credited as the inspiration.
The second big influence is model and singer Bebe Buell. Buell is the source of the concert origin story Penny tells about being saved from being crushed at her first gig and pulled up on stage. That happened to Buell at Madison Square Garden. Crowe also named Jeff Bebe, Jason Lee's character, after her.
Very nice.
Yeah, nice. Yeah.
Yeah. The third name in the mix is Pamela DeBarras. Hudson read DeBarras' memoir, I'm with the band, as part of her prep. But DeBarras has kind of a complicated relationship with the film. She has accused Crowe of initially denying her influence on Penny before later admitting that she partly inspired Penny Lane.
Right.
Right. And Hudson also had input on Penny's now iconic wardrobe, working with costume designer Betsy Hyman. One specific call was hers. She said, I made decisions such as to wear a sheer chiffon top without a bra. I myself would never do that, but Penny would definitely have that freedom within herself.
God, definitely.
Yeah, it fits the character.
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
On the costume design, you'd be forgiven that thinking that all the costumes were vintage, but the majority of them were brand new, largely custom made by Hyman. The fur on Penny's iconic coat was made up of 3 different shag rugs from Urban Outfitters,
No, nice.
Right.
and she chose the colour because of how it would bounce light onto Hudson's face.
Yeah, nice. Yeah.
To age the new clothes, Hyman literally dragged them behind a truck.
Nice. Brilliant. What kind of truck?
So a truly great ensemble cast. Special mention also to Philip Seymour Hoffman, Frances McDormand, Jason Lee, and Zoe Deschanel. But Crudup, Fugit, and Hudson are the emotional core of the film.
Yeah.
Definitely, yeah.
Great triangle between them.
Yeah,
Fantastic.
definitely.
All Right Movies will be right back. Thank you for supporting us by listening to the sponsors for this episode. Thank you for listening to our sponsors, and now it's back to the show.
The middle.
Life on the road brings its issues, and they are highlighted in probably the most memorable stretch of scenes in the second act. Over to you, Matt.
Yes, because we've had this tension, and it's bubbling away beneath the surface between Jeff and Russell, and it comes to a head when these T-shirts arrive backstage, and it's such a Spinal Tap moment when Dick just takes them out of the box. You can see what they look like, you can see what the problem is, and you just get this wonderful back and forth when Russell tries to laugh it off. Can we just skip the vibe and go straight to us laughing about this? Because I can see by your face you want to get into it. But it's Jeff's retort. How can you tell? I'm just one of the out of focus guys. That is so brilliant. It's brilliant.
Yeah.
Then you've got Larry, the bass player. He's just tired. He just wants some barbecue. He wants an easy night. You totally understand where he's coming from.
Yeah.
But it's the way this argument continues to escalate. Like when Jeff says, we said, I'm the front man and you're the guitarist with Mystique. That's when you realise that everything that Lester said to William earlier on is true. These guys will ruin rock because instead of being about the music, it's about posing. It's about these petty little arguments that just don't matter. But I think Crudup and Lee, they play this so well because you totally buy into this fractious, complicated relationship they have. And I think Lee's best moment in the film is when Jeff justifies himself in front of the band and William. I connect. I get people off. I look for the one guy who isn't getting off and I make him get off. Actually, that you can print.
Yeah,
That's amazing.
Brilliant.
And then he's right in Russell's face. And yet, why do I always end up feeling like I'm a joke to you? It's just so well played between them in this spot.
Yeah, they're like two arguing brothers, aren't they?
Very much.
Yeah.
On the band, as we mentioned, costume designer Betsy Hyman, her brief was to dress them like a rock and roll outlaws, and she used costumes to dramatise the tension between Beebe and Hammond. She gave Jeff velvet, studded jeans, loud colours, while Hammond wore plain jeans, boots, T-shirts. Hyman said, the irony is that the harder Jeff Beebe tries to be noticed, the more everyone turns to Russell.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
There was supposed to be another scene right after this one before Russell and William go out in search of something real.
Yes, so Neil Young was actually set to play Harry Hammond, Russell's estranged father. Russell walks past him while Harry is holding court with a much younger fiancée in his arm. And the fiancée starts eyeing Russell up and he realises his dad is just using fame for his own gain.
Yeah, Young was kitted out and ready to go, but then cancelled on the morning of the shoot. Oh,
Devastating.
what a nightmare. Crowe. Crying about that. But Young did contribute to the film in another way. He gave Crowe a bootleg version of the song Cortez the Killer. What a tune. Yeah, going back through his own archives to find the right take, mixing it himself, Crowe said, he giveth and he taketh away.
Great.
Yeah.
Yeah, it plays after the aeroplane confession scene.
It does, yeah.
When they land at the airport. Great.
Brilliant.
So, William and Russell leave the venue in search of something real. Russell says that, you're real, but he doesn't know anything about him. And he wishes he never opened his mouth after William downloads his whole family dynamic. He puffs his cheeks out. Fucking hell. Then the kid in the car who pulls up and asks them to go to a house party. Dead ringer for a young Brad Pitt.
Yeah.
And what follows is one of the most memorable scenes in the film. Firstly, the house party. Russell is like a newborn puppy running around taking the adulation. He loves the kitchen.
I fucking love this
Absolutely loves
kitchen,
it.
man.
Then when he's holding court in that bedroom, flicking the light switches and saying real over and over. Real.
Yeah.
In 11 years, it's going to be 1984, man. Think about that.
You know what you feed a mouse, my snake? Yes.
And there's the moment where the kid comes out and says there's acid in the beers in the red cups. No hesitation, straight down the hatch.
Yeah.
And Russell's completely done for. It starts off quite innocent with William kind of lovingly smiling, watching him play the drums. And then he's jumping up and down on the spot in the living room.
In the photo.
And then there's that great smash cut as William is on the phone to Dick. How do you know when it's kicked in? Bang!
Yeah,
Russell
I
on the roof and the house screaming, I'm a golden god.
Yeah.
That's great editing. That's not
amazing.
unlike Spinal Tap editing.
It's not. No.
Yeah.
Russell's last words, you can tell Rolling Stone, I'm on drugs, and everybody goes wild.
Yeah.
Okay, well, you better rethink that. Okay, this one's better. This one's better. I dig music. That's something like, okay, yeah. Then I'm on drugs. Yes. It's great.
So good. Yeah.
And then Russell jumps in the pool to top it off. This scene was so memorable to me from the first viewing. I think for most people.
Yeah.
Especially when combined with the tiny dancer moment the next morning as well.
Yeah.
The I am a golden god moment was a reference to Dwayne Allman, who jumped into a pool from a roof, and Robert Plant, who uttered the immortal line when being interviewed at the Hyatt Continental on Sunset Boulevard in LA. He stood on the balcony and shouted at the top of his lungs for all of sunset to hear. Amazing. I am a golden god.
Yeah, Page and Plant viewed an early screening of the film for approval to use their music.
Yeah.
It got to this moment and Plant laughed out loud. Then one of the final scenes where the band are discussing, William's article, Hammond says that he never said the I am a golden god line, and Plant shouted out, I did. Amazing.
Brilliant. Of course he did.
More on that meeting later, though.
And years after the film came out, Billy Crudup was on a flight and saw Robert Plant nearby. And for 5 hours, apparently, Crudup just sat there frozen, trying to find a way to start the conversation. So the flight landed. They were both at baggage reclaim when Plant ended up breaking the ice. And Crudup replied, my name is Billy Crudup. I was in the movie called Almost Famous, and I was the one who said, I'm a golden god. And Plant came back with, well, that's my line. And Crudup replied, well, it's my line now, and walked off.
Wow, some balls.
Yeah.
One of the told him all flight. He said, it's my line now, bye.
Yeah,
Right.
see you later, Robert Plant.
So after that, he gets dried off. We'll find out where he is. And Luke mentioned it there, but it's the tiny dancer moment. I mean, this moment, that golden god sticks in your head. But this one, to me, when someone says almost famous, you almost sing Tiny Dancer when they finish saying
Without
it.
doubt.
Mm-hmm.
It's just absolutely ingrained in anyone who watches this film. This is probably the most Shazammed film I could imagine people watching. It just, as they're going through, like, pause it, what was that, rewind it, do that. So I had a look on Shazam, right? Tiny Dancer has got 3,765,548 Shazams, which I would imagine is just from Almost Famous.
Yeah.
And, 549 now after I did it a day. Because I loved that song, and I loved Elton John at the time, and it wasn't cool that I like Elton John.
No, it wasn't
cool. My dad loved him and had everything up to Blue Moves. He'd say everything up to Blue Moves is perfect, and then there was issues after that, which is what
Rock of the Westies, obviously.
I love Rock of the Westies.
I know you do.
So Step Up's all right. Look, anyway. There's the moment where Russell realizes it's all the party's over with, and then there's how good the sound design is on this, and I've always felt uncomfortable, and I've got to watch it for this, and then when I watch it for this, like we've always said, I just analyze it a little bit too far. You always go in and you kind of forget about the emotion of the scene. You just think, well, what's the technical aspect that's making this work?
Yeah.
And when he's shouting at him, he's like, how do you know you're not a cop? Stop looking at me. And he's like, it's horrible. I always hated that bit. But if you notice, there's just the background music cuts out.
Yeah.
There's music there when he's walking away, and he's like, how do I look at him? He's reading us with his eyes and all this kind of stuff. And you just think, that's quite playful. As soon as he turns around, how do I know you're not a cop? There's no music. There's no safety blanket. There's nothing subtle underneath it. And William's reaction's absolutely perfect. Gets back on, and there's that whole moment where he's just on the boat. You feel that when you've fucked up and you've done something stupid, and you have to face the people that you've fucked up and done something stupid to, and you just, oh God. And at the same time, he's stripped, and he's just, he's semi-naked, he's covered in a towel, he's not in his comfortable, clothes where he can dress the ego, he can hide behind his shades or his leather jacket. He hasn't got any defenses whatsoever. He's completely, he might as well be naked, to be honest, and just in front of everybody. But then you get that speech from Dick where he said, ladies and gentlemen, the night is over, see you in 1974. And it starts with the intro, the Tiny Dancer piano plays over that. And I am just like, this is definitely a Cameron Crowe film, but he's just pulled an absolute blinder here.
Oh, it's incredible.
And it's just the reactions from everybody, because what he does here, this film may help me figure this out. So for anyone else who's looking for this answer that I'd been dying to understand how people like Cameron Crowe and films do this is the answer. And it's how to not make something cheesy when it's obviously cheesy. Because this should be cheese on toast, cringe. But what you need to do, and what Crowe does perfectly, is sets the base emotion far lower than it needs to be. So if you
Right.
start on an emotion that's just like, oh, yeah, well, I don't understand where he's coming from, that's fine, and you don't feel like sick to your stomach, and you've all done that. If you've had an argument around the dinner table, someone's got to speak first. Someone's got to break the ice. Someone's got to break the tension. And that base emotion is really low. It's like -10. And that's what he does. He sets the whole bar really low and starts building it. And this song builds. And he starts building with other members singing it first. Then Penny Lane sings it. Everyone else joins in. Then Jeff joins in. And everyone just starts to layer it going, I forgive you. I forgive you. We're a band. We're singing together. We're part of a community. We're part of a team. Let's combine. Let's do it. The way that Crowe nails this, if you know this song, is he misses out the bridge, which is so integral. Because that would have sunk the ship, because it does.
Absolutely.
It takes you to a different place melodically.
It does.
And it's a minor drop.
There's a key change, isn't it?
Yeah, it just goes, how it feels so real down here. Well, when we've already got the emotional build, we don't need to drop again. So he takes the bridge out and goes straight into the chorus, which is so uplifting, which I think loads of people would listen to this song again and go, that's not as good as Almost Famous. I don't quite know why. It's got the fucking bridge in it, and it's been remixed, and that's the whole point. It's just wonderful the way that this message is carried, and it's just the power of music, the emotion of music, how everyone can just be together with it. And that last line, I need to go home. You are home. Fucking forget about it.
And what makes this scene work technically was the camera rig. Key grip Herb Oit and chief lighting technician Randy Woodside built a custom setup that allowed DP John Toll to shoot the entire bus interior from the roof, floating freely between the actors instead of having to cut between individual close-ups.
Nice.
Yeah.
But it nearly didn't make it through filming at all. DreamWorks had already started telling Crowe to rein it in. They thought the movie was running too long and too slow.
Yeah. So Crowe went to Toll and basically appealed to his soul. He said, I talked to the cinematographer and I said, we've got to cover everybody singing Tiny Dancer. And he's like, did you hear what the studio told you recently? This is going to take 2 days. And I'm like, but you feel it, right? And he goes, yes, I feel it. And I go, is it 2 days? And he goes, it's 2 days. And I'm going, well, we've got to do it anyway. 2 days.
Amazing. Noah Taylor, who plays the band's manager, Dick Roswell, eventually refused to participate after Crowe made the cast do the scene so many times.
Yeah, Crowe loved doing different options for the cutting room. He actually, during the editing process, Patrick Fugit's voice was turned down in the final mix because, by Crowe's own admission, Fugit was the worst singer in the cast by a long distance.
Fair enough. I think that would have been quite nice to have a shit vocal in there, just to hear it.
Yeah, that would have been nice, actually, yeah. And that incredible musical number brings an end to 3 of the most memorable moments from Almost Famous. With William settled into the Stillwater family, the Band-Aids make him feel a lot more at home, before Russell gets Elaine on the phone and New Horizons beckon for the boys.
Yeah, I mean, it's all been very smooth sailing, hasn't it, watching this film? It's all very nice, it's all good, but there are elements we need to address, and we'll address more of them, but it's this issue we've said. Cameron Crowe has written this with a very rose-tinted perspective.
Yeah.
That's the general tone of the film, and I don't have a problem with that tone. But it does lead to specific moments which I do have problems with. And there's one right here where the Band-Aids, in their own words, decide to deflower the kid.
Oh.
Is it believable that Cameron Crowe and therefore William would get laid doing this gig? Of course it is. They're on the road, no responsibilities, drugs, booze. It's going to happen. But Cameron Crowe and William doesn't just lose his virginity like everyone else with just one other person. Doesn't even lose in a threesome. No, according to Cameron Crowe, he loses it in a foursome, and you just think, oh my God, come off it. Like, you're fooling no one. In this moment, which it's supposed to be so sweet, it's just dated so badly. It's so icky and uncomfortable to me. Penny doing the whole like peeping through her fingers thing.
Awful.
Before leaving him to get on with it, I'll just say, oh God, this scene, it's so badly judged. It always takes me out of the film because it's just bullshit. And the thing is, it doesn't need to be in the film.
Doesn't need to be in.
It doesn't.
Absolutely not.
I know they've got the callback later on. Just leave it as that. That line would work
you
so
don't know
much
who
better.
with.
You go, oh, really?
Because that'll be a surprise to us and we don't know who it is.
Yeah,
That's brilliant.
Because William could be lying at that point because he's like, oh God, yeah, I did. But doing it like this, it's oh God, it's genuinely a very bad scene.
Especially when he's hearts with Penny as well. That's like who he really cares about.
Exactly,
and he has to watch her leave the room. It doesn't sit well, does it?
No. Just the dialogue, let's deflower the kid.
No, they're calling him a kid as well, like the noise age. Like it doesn't work.
No.
It really doesn't. Allegedly, according to Crowe, he said that happened to him straight from his own life.
Right.
There's times to be dainty and there's times to be a pig.
Yeah.
Just be quiet.
Yeah, horrible.
Yeah.
Yeah, really. It just doesn't fit. It doesn't
It
fit.
doesn't go.
Doesn't-
Nah, it's
no.
awful.
No.
So straight after that, he has to phone home. He has to check back into reality. And it's just this dynamic between him and Russell now. Russell's just so cocky. He's on the phone to his mum. I'll be home, I promise. He's just doing all these promises just on the other end of the line. And it's just the gusto he answers with here, just the cockiness. Hey, it's Russell Hammond. I play guitar in Stillwater. And he just thinks he's got the upper hand, and he doesn't. And it's just that silence. And then he's like, right, okay, and then tries to explain himself a little bit more. He's still got the upper hand. And she just lays into him. You know, I'm onto you. He worships you, people.
Yeah.
Just this genuineness to her care, and it's just not being aggressive. She's just being truthful. But it's always this moment where Russell, I don't know if it's because of her delivery of what she's saying, and Russell realizes that, yeah, he does care about her, and I've been a bit of a dick here, and I've got to now be careful. Or whether he finds out, yes, he's 15. Right, I've now got to be careful. This is ridiculous. He's 15 years old. And that's just McDormand, the way she delivers it. You'll meet the voice on the other end of the phone, and it will not be pretty. It's just like, yes, of course it won't. It'll tear him limb from limb. It's just amazing. It's like, do we understand each other? Yes, ma'am. He's got that cockiness to just, yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. But what I really love about this is when they go on stage and you just get that moment where Russell realizes that he needs to be more of a companion to William. But then you get that performance. And when you think about that performance, he's more of a companion to Jeff because he's given Jeff center stage. He's written that song, but he's given him the opening verse and the piano to do it himself, to just perform himself. So he's given a part of it away to Jeff. He's given a part of it away. He's starting to peel back the layers of Russell at this point. We don't quite know it yet, but this is the beginning of his unraveling to a better person.
Yeah, great. And that phone call, I mean, it's just pitch perfect.
It's great.
I love how much cockiness he has when William is on the phone to his mother and he says, tell her you're a slave to the groove, you can't help it. I was howling at that.
Yeah. Just his voice, though, isn't it? Like on her side.
Yeah, it is just his voice.
Yeah.
And he loves that. He's pissing himself laughing at it. Crudup and McDormand had appeared on stage together around 4 months before shooting this film. Crudup played Oedipus and McDormand played his mother, Jocasta. So when it came to doing the first take of this phone call, Crowe called cut because it ended up being a little bit too sexy.
A little bit sexy.
A little bit sexy.
A little bit sexy.
Yeah.
Worked together before, have they? Oh, a little bit sexy. Yeah. Tango and Tash.
Yes, they obviously hadn't been able to fully remove the shackles of Greek mythology. A little
Brilliant.
sexy.
Who can?
That's true enough. So after being thoroughly grounded by Elaine Stillwater take to the stage, their popularity is on the rise, so naturally the high abovs are trying to take advantage and draft in a prospective new manager, Dennis Hope. He's got all the big bands.
Yeah.
I love how resigned to the situation Dick is when he introduces the notion to the band.
Yeah.
I think we've got to do this. And this guy comes in, Dennis Hope, Jimmy Fallon, massive collar, oxblood leather, beard, Mr. Early 70s, thinks he's the bomb. I might enrage some and enthrall others. I don't really give a fuck.
He's great.
What a dick.
He's a dick, but I love him. I do
Oh,
love
he's
him.
fantastic.
He gets the job done.
Yeah, he does.
And Jimmy Fallon has admitted he had a huge crush on Hudson during filming, but believed he'd been firmly friend-zoned. 20 years later, though, Hudson appeared on his chat show and admitted that she had similar feelings at the time.
Oof, missed opportunity for the big man.
Ouch.
This was his first film. He'd been a regular cast member on SNL since 98, so he was a fairly big name. But Dennis is talking sense here, and the band know it. It's the corporate takeover of music that Lester Bangs has warned us about. Bring in a plane, add more shows, earn more money. Respectfully. Russell has protests, but he's short-sighted, and the whole band know it after Dennis continues. He gives this really great speech. Do you know Frank Barcelona? Do you know how to keep from getting charged for the ice below the floorboards at Chicago Stadium? Do you know how to do a headlining tour? I didn't invent the rainy day, man. I just own the best umbrella.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love
Great,
that.
great line.
Yeah.
And then the line that got a laugh in the theatre when I first saw the film. If you think Mick Jagger will still be out there trying to be a rock star age 50, you're sadly mistaken.
His impressions class.
Yeah.
as well,
His
isn't it?
impression's great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was funny 26 years ago, like a no-one laugh. It's astounding now. And then I love the transition, a slow push on William with Lester Bangs' word ringing in his head. The war is over. They won. As we move to Penny in the empty auditorium twirling around to the sound of the wind by Cat Stevens. Doesn't get better than that.
Doesn't.
Cameron Crowe's favourite shot in the film.
Yeah.
A beautiful sound, stunning imagery. The innocence of youth is about to be taken away, replaced by Jimi Hendrix roaring in with Voodoo Child as they board the plane. An amazing transition.
That is an amazing transition, yeah.
So some wonderful imagery to cap off a memorable second act, highlighting the pitfalls of life on the road.
Yeah.
Indeed.
The crew.
We're starting as we normally do with the screenplay for Almost Famous. Cameron Crowe drawn from his own personal well of time on the road. Matt, the screenplay.
I mean, it's really written from the heart. And it's not just about celebrating music. It's about celebrating the appreciation of music as well. This is what it's like when you love something so much that it just takes over your life. And you want to talk about it and you want to write about it. And I think that's the theme that resonates so much with people. The writing invites you in to join in with the process, not kind of stand outside it and wonder how it's done. And I think that's part of the reason it resonates with us in particular, because like us four at ADRM would just love talking about movies as much as we do watching them. Yeah. And that's what this taps into. And I think Crowe really funnels that sensibility throughout this film, while at the same time he's telling a story about growing up and tricky friendships and having a crush for the first time. Having said all that, and, you know, this is tied together with this directing, you can't separate the two. Is it just a little bit too rose-tinted? Is he a bit too close to the subject? You know, I've mentioned the moment that doesn't work with the Band-Aids. And, you know, you don't have to know loads about it, but as we've been saying, if you don't know 70s rock, you know it was much more debauched and excessive than this, which this doesn't go into. And that's fine, because ultimately it's William's story and it's Crowe looking back at that with a lot of fondness. But there are moments where you feel, you know, could he have benefited from a co-writer or maybe someone in the editing room to say, that's a little too glossy, maybe pull back from that. Yeah. But ultimately, it's his story that he wants to tell, and it's told with real heart, and therefore it's got a real reason to exist, and I'm really glad it does.
Yeah, I think it's great. I think in a film this sprawling, this dense with locations and characters weaving in and out of the narrative, I think it's imperative that you write memorable side characters. Ones who leave a mark, even if they're only in the film under a minute. Yeah. And that, I think, is what Crowe's written here. He's drawn upon his vast knowledge of the road, the colourful characters he's encountered along the way, and just stuffed them into this screenplay. I think it helps that you've got a casting director like Gail Levin, who impeccably cast the smaller roles as well as she did the main roles.
Yeah, yeah.
Ones that leap out are Sheldon, the desk clerk at the King of the Road motel that you said, Matt, played by future Modern Family star Eric Stone Street.
That's right.
That she's a handful line. I drop that into everyday conversation, or I try to. Yeah. That one line from that nothing role has made that much of an impact on me. It's just his Stone delivery. She's a handful. Yeah. Brilliant. Yeah. And then you've got a really young Jay Baruchel who plays the Zeppelin Uber fan with the homemade fan T-shirt.
So good. Yeah.
Freaking out over the pen that he touched. Yeah. He touched Mr. Robert Plant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you've got podcaster extraordinaire Mark Maron in there as the tour promoter who gets threatened with karate by Dick, the manager.
That's right.
Yeah.
His high kicks are shit.
Yeah. He doesn't know karate.
No. He doesn't know karate at all. Maron's shout of "Lock the Gates" was an ever-present in the theme tune for his podcast WTF, if you ever listen to that. And one of my favourites is Beth from Denver, played by Olivia Rosewood. She's the clairvoyant Band-Aid who interrupts William on the phone for his mother. He says, I love you to his mother, but she thinks he's talking to him. Talking about William's aura, how purple it is.
Yeah.
And there's a moment where she's talking and her voice cracks. And it's just such a warm and genuine moment. It really feels like home, like family.
Yeah.
So not only is Crowe written an incredible roster of main and supporting characters, but underneath are these fleeting characters that make a lasting impression. They make all the different locations really memorable. There are elements of the writing that I could have done without. Like you've said, Matt, Penny being 16 doesn't sit well with me. You know, we've talked about the deflowering scene and the age of the other Band-Aids, but I really think it's come straight from the heart, this, and it's really poignant piece of writing from Cameron Crowe.
Yeah.
Your thoughts on the writing, Westy?
I mean, yeah, it's hard to kind of separate this from the direction, really, because it all kind of ties together, doesn't it? And we've said quite a bit in the director's section. But
Sure.
I think the main thing about this is that it is quite complicated on the page. And I think, we've spoke about Brad Pitt reading this, and I think if you read it, you can go to that darker place. And I think on the page, it wouldn't have had that necessarily rose-tinted tone. You could kind of take it any way you wanted to when you're reading them words. But I think because it does seem so complicated, there's lots of characters in this, like you both said, and I think the B characters are just as important as the A characters. Yeah, and everybody has an arc, like everybody. Like they all start somewhere and they all end somewhere completely different. I mean, even given like Jeff that arc, and I think because it is so personal, that's why he doesn't get lost. He knows exactly where the beacon is. He knows exactly where the compass points north, and he can follow that because it's based on honesty and it's based on personal experience. Yes, I do feel like he's embellished some of it, but he's embellished it in the right way to make it entertaining. It's not the Russell Hammond version of the Cameron Crowe experience where he's trying to make himself look cool. He's trying to put himself down and say, actually, I was a nerd. Actually, this was quite lucky. All of this honesty really comes across, and I think that's the best thing about the writing is that there's bad people in this, but they're not really bad people. They just make bad choices. And I think that's what he tries to address in a lot of his films, and it really comes across here that yes, you can make bad choices, but that doesn't make you a bad person. You can reconcile. You can, no matter where you go, what road you go down, you can always turn around and start back, and you can do it again. And there's always people around you who will support you, even if you think they won't. So there's all of these lovely messages in there. If I had to say anything about this writing, it's authentic and it's honest.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
The idea for the screenplay came from an unexpected place. Crowe was commissioned by Ticketmaster's magazine Live to write 750 words about a memorable concert. He picked the first one he ever went to, check this out, Elvis at the San Diego Sports Arena when he was 12 with his mother in tow. Amazing.
Wow. Incredible.
Yeah.
But the piece took on a life of its own. It became less about Elvis and more about Crowe's arguments with his mother, who reckoned that rock and roll was the poetry of drugs and promiscuous sex, of course. Crowe handed in a 3,000-word article, which was too long for the magazine.
Yeah. It's like me answering a Patreon question.
You want 3? I'll give you 9. And I'll give you 5 more if you need it.
Absolutely.
Crowe refused to edit it, so he pulled it, and he took inspiration to base a screenplay around it as well. It was more than 10 years in the making, with Crowe finally taking the plunge on getting the film over the line after some encouragement from Raiders writer Lawrence Kasdan. Kasdan gets a special thanks credit on the film as well.
Okay.
Nice, great, yeah.
And the original draft of Almost Famous was a different beast entirely. The band at the centre of the film were British, not American. The lead singer was a foppish, theatrical English rock star called Ricky Fedora, who Crowe modelled on Peter fucking Frampton.
Right. Wow.
Yeah, Crowe said the idea of a foppish British rock star was suddenly a comical thing. It was too Austin Powers. So he reworked the whole thing to be about an American band
Spinal
instead.
Tap as well.
Yeah, very much.
And the other casualty of the rewrite was a character called Russell DeMay, a publicist in the band's orbit who Crowe had based on the Beatles publicist Derek Taylor. Crowe wrote the part specifically for David Bowie. Wow. But when the British angle went away, DeMay went with it, and it was later rewritten into the Dennis Hope character.
Ah, yes, the Jimmy Fallon one.
Yeah.
Crowe said the last time he saw Bowie was at an Almost Famous event where he told him the whole script had started live as a part for him. Bowie's response was, well, write me another one. Allegedly, Crowe was trying to do exactly that when Bowie died.
Oh, what a shame.
Oh, wow.
Sorry, little fat man.
Chubby little loser.
Chubby little loser.
National joke. The title Almost Famous was not Crowe's first choice, not by a long way. His original pick was Untitled. This film was his fourth, and it was a reference to Led Zeppelin's Untitled fourth album, the one with Stairway on.
Yeah,
he said, I like the idea that there were going to be a music reference at every turn, and that was like Led Zeppelin had the Untitled album. DreamWorks said no, which surely Crowe would have known that. You can't just put a film out called Untitled. It's absolute madness.
Yeah. No, it's not going to work.
Yeah, and nobody would have got the Zepp reference. Everyone just calls it Led Zeppelin 4.
Yeah, it's called Led Zeppelin 4. It's not called Untitled.
No, it's called Led Zeppelin 4, or the White Album, or the Black Album. Like, people just call it Untitled. What did you say? Oh, have you seen Untitled? It's amazing.
Sorry, what?
It's a terrible name for a film. His next stab was The Uncool, Again, shot down by the studio, and rightly
course.
so.
Yeah.
So Crowe put out an APB to the cast and crew asking everyone to submit ideas for what to eventually call the film. That's a Hail Mary, that, isn't it? Jimmy Fallon took the brief extremely seriously and submitted 25 options of his own. None of them got used, but his favourite of his suggestions was Vinyl Days.
It's a bit generic, that, isn't it?
It is a bit, yeah.
So it ended up with over 40 names in the mix, and the highlights include Tangerine, Hotel Kisses, Days of Future Past, and that's PASSED, not PASD, Mixes to Myself, Late for Breakfast, Suitable Rubies, and a whopping 13 different variations on the word words. So words fail me, words on fire, words for you, words by heart, words get in the way, etc. But an honourable mention must go to Real Uncool, Try Again.
Real uncool. The uncool? No. Real uncool? Definitely not.
How do you make it worse?
The title I did stick has a perfect explanation behind it. Crowe said, I used to go to these concerts and I would see Mick Jagger. Then off to the side of these people standing by the amps, you look at them and you think, who are they? Are they groupies? Are they friends of the promoter? Are they married to the bass player? Because they're almost famous.
Right.
Lovely.
So a poignant, beautifully constructed paean to his youth, Cameron Crowe's writing on Almost Famous, is a wonderful, heartfelt script, save for a couple of missteps.
Yes.
Yes.
Next up, it's the music in the film. I mean, need I say more?
Need I say more?
Here we go. Right, now we're talking, right?
It's going to be a long one, this.
The ultimate in movie soundtracks. I'm going to top you, Westy. This is top 3 for me.
Oh, beautiful.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
But this was literally and metaphorically music to my ears when I was 19 and I first saw it. I was so far into this type of music, and I'm sure this story, you'll hear this 3 times in this section, but Dylan, Zeppelin, Neil Young, so this just appealed to me massively and gave credence to acts that I loved but felt at the time they were sneaking out a little bit. Elton John, Rod the Bod.
Yeah.
But this validated that music for me.
Absolutely. Yeah, 100%. Same.
There are huge songs in here, but they don't feel like cliche choices from the era. You've got The Who, but it's Sparks, it's not Pinball Wizard. Simon and Garfunkel, it's American, not the Boxer, or Sounds of Silence, or whatever. Elton John, Tiny Dancer, not Crocodile Rock, Simple Man Violin, it's Skinner, not Sweet Home Alabama. I could go on and on.
Yeah.
And that just adds to the authenticity Crowe brings. The music brings fireworks to every scene. And there are just a billion different outstanding needle drops. Like every picture tells a story. Rod Stewart when they're crossing over the road to the Riot House. One Way Out by the Allman Brothers is an incredible way to inject urgency and kinetic energy to a montage scene. The jangle of Page's acoustic guitar that opens That's the Way just makes me melt.
Yeah, it's amazing.
And everybody knows This Is Nowhere by Neil Young when they go to the house party.
Yeah.
Incredible.
Yeah.
Bowie's version of Waiting for the Man, a lovely callback to what Lester Bang says about Boy doing Lou Reed and Lou Reed doing Boy.
So who's
Very
doing
nice.
Lou Reed?
Yeah.
you
He's
like
still
Lou
doing
Reed.
Lou.
Do you like it?
And I also love the use of diegetic music, like the band when they're singing like Something in the Air or the cover of Rolling Stone. It's just got it oozing out of its pores. It's pitch perfect music, a pitch perfect setting. I'm in love with this music that takes us all across America. It's just, it's beautiful stuff, nourishing stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely up there for me. It's unbelievable stuff. I mean, go to the end credits of this film and just basically pick every song in Spotify, make that into a playlist and play that at any party. People are going to say, this boy knows music or this girl knows music. You're going to be kind of like really appreciated in that sense. Yeah, it's that validation. But it's the use of it as well. I mean, you got the opening credits. Yes, you have Alvin and the Chipmunks, which is probably, the only misstep, but it's not because it's genius, because it shows how innocent William is.
Exactly.
Yeah, because that's what he's into before
Yeah,
he's into
exactly.
Exactly. So that really works. But you've got Pre-Function by Nancy Wilson that's over the credits, which totally works. Then you've got the Oogum Boogum song when they're doing the
Brendan Wood.
by Brendan Wood. That's absolutely brilliant. And like you said there, Sparks, Journey by The Who, that transition to 1973, that's just an incredible transition of a song. Search and Destroy by Iggy and the Stooges, that just totally shows who Lester Bangs is, and that just for their moves, and that you've said The Wind into Voodoo Child. But the one that really justified this for me was a song that I listened to over and over again that I absolutely loved. I was putting on mini discs for people. I was like, just listen to this. And it's towards the end. It's when Penny's being asked to leave the party and she goes back and she eventually overdoses. And it's Mona Lisa's and Mad Hatters by Elton John, which is on Honky Chateau. But to have Mona Lisa's and Mad Hatters play out that loud and that long in the cinema, I just...
Goosebumps.
Yeah, I just sighed. Just this huge relief of like... but if this film was called The Uncool, it would have undone everything. Because it's like people were like, oh, your song's in The Uncool, but it's not. It's like your song's Almost Famous and it totally works. What a tune that is. What a soundtrack this is. What use of music. I mean, Stillwater is probably one of my favourite bands of all time, and I've said that over and over again. I would go and see them at the drop of a fucking hat. Absolutely straight up there for me. I mean, they're just channeling everything that works without it being a cliche. They're just reinventing it again. It's authentic, it's honest, it's great, it's wonderful, it's so uplifting. It's a perfect soundtrack.
Yes, it is. Matt, do you concur?
I mean, what else can I add to that? I mean, obviously, I totally concur. Yeah, because, I mean, the first thing I did put down was it's worth remembering just how good the Stillwater songs are because they're so genuine to the time.
They fit in.
Yeah, they could sound like a parody, but they don't.
No.
And then the songs on the soundtrack itself, the way they work for me is that they're not the obvious choices. You know, you've got like Field Flows on there by the Beach Boys.
Yeah.
Would you think, wow, yeah, that's the Beach Boys?
Yeah.
I mean, they're not obscure, but they're not obvious. So each one of these slightly obvious picks, it's like it's leading you down the path. Think, oh, so you thought that was all the Beach Boys were, like God Only Knows and Good Vibrations. No, they did this as well. And it makes you want to investigate them further. Tiny Dancer makes you want to investigate Elton John further if you don't know.
Of course.
It all feels really personal to Cameron Crowe. And he's not gone for the obvious big hitters, and that's why it works so well.
Yeah. Oh, it works a charm. The music in Almost Famous is obviously one of the greatest achievements in the film. Over 50 songs from the era, a music budget of around 3.5 million, which is, you know, more than double what most films would spend on a soundtrack.
Yeah.
But, I mean, money well spent.
Definitely.
And the story of Stillwater's own music actually starts back in 1986. Crowe and his then wife Nancy Wilson were on a honeymoon, holed up in a cottage in Oregon. And to pass the time, they invented a fake band and started writing songs for them, with a vague half thought that one day Crowe might make a film he could use in them. And 15 years later, those songs became Stillwater's catalogue.
Wow,
amazing. Outside of their songs for Crowe, the jewel in the crown, the eye of the duck, was Led Zeppelin. No Zeppelin, no Almost Famous. That's how important it was to him. Wow. And considering how protective the band are about the use of music, this was a really big one, as Crowe had 4 of their songs in his cut and he needed approval. Yeah. So he flew to London with editor Joe Hutchin and music supervisor Danny Bramson and met up with Page and Plant on the one day in the year that the two get together to handle Zeppelin business.
The two were in front of Crowe and his crew at the screening, he said. They would lean and say things to each other, and you'd just see this outline of the heads talking privately. And we looked at each other like, oh, we're fucked. They're trying to figure out how they can leave. But then the Golden God scene came, and Plant's laugh put everyone at ease.
Yeah. So when the film ended, both Page and Plant were smiling. Plant walked up to Crowe and asked if his mother was really like that, and Crowe said, that and more. So Plant laughed, glanced at Page and said, I have a bottle of Quaaludes that's been on my shelf since the early 70s. I think I'm going to go home and crack it open tonight.
Amazing. Brilliant. Yeah, Page and Plant doing this in front of you.
Yeah.
So Page and Plant took Crowe and his team to a wine bar across the street. They approved the 4 Zeppelin tracks Crowe had asked for. So that's Tangerine, The Rain Song, Misty Mountain, Hop, and That's the Way. But there was a sticking point. Crowe also wanted Stairway to Heaven. And that was just a flat no. Page said, we just don't do anything with Stairway. But then, in a very nice gesture, Page offered to throw in an extra song to make it up. He gave Crowe the rights to Bronna Aya, an acoustic instrumental piece from Led Zeppelin 3. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And he gave him that for free.
Oh,
wow.
Nice.
No Stairway. Denied.
Denied.
The Stairway scene was filmed. In it, William's mother and Alice Crowe, Cameron's mother, who played William's schoolteacher, sat in their front room as William plays Stairway to Heaven from start to finish to convince his mother that rock music isn't all sex and drugs. The whole song. Crowe said that he wanted to use the scene as kind of an intermission for the film.
Yeah, I mean, it is a great scene. If you've seen it, it's on that bootleg cut DVD. You can get it online as well.
It's long though, isn't it? I mean, it's not Spartacus.
It kind of an intermission. I think it comes in like 30 minutes into the film. You just need an intermission at that point.
Right? Yeah.
And there is a great workaround on the bootleg cut if you've got it on DVD or Blu-ray. So the stairway scene plays silent, but there's a watermark on screen which instructs the viewer to pull out their copy of Led Zeppelin 4, cue up track 4, and hit play to keep in sync with the film itself.
Yeah, it's a nice little experiment.
It's a nice idea.
Yeah.
As an extra on a DVD, you don't put the fucking theatrical.
You don't
cut,
put it in the film. No way.
No.
So Outstanding doesn't even come close to the soundtrack for Almost Famous, making a strong case for best ever movie soundtrack, if you're that way inclined, of course.
Yeah.
It's up there.
Finally, the cinematography for Almost Famous, which was handled by John Toll, the two-time Oscar-winning DP who won back-to-back Best Cinematographer Oscars for Legends of the Fall in 95 and Braveheart in 96. Wow. Serious talent, Westy. What do you think of Toll's work?
It's beautiful because you don't really notice it. It's there and it just completely reinforces the story. It's warm, it's naturalistic, it's nostalgic. Nothing is too much to take you out of the film. Very soft sources, so there's nothing too hard. There's nothing to take you out of it. There's some incredibly well lit moments that are just so beautifully done with the authenticity of the time. You know, like the walking on the stage bit of Just Lights could have been very jarring, but it just totally works. The flashes are totally in the right moments. I know I haven't gone into, the shall I shoot anamorphic or shall we shoot? It's shot spherical. Let's just get that out of the way. But that just, but that just gives it a more authentic time. But it's just, again, it's just John Toll. He's just so safe and not in a bad way, just in such a reaffirming way. In that you do not notice a lot of John Toll cinematography, and he did exactly what he needed to do here, and that was to make the cinematography invisible, and that's how good he is. Yeah,
exactly the same. It's about telling the story. It doesn't go precisely for the documentary feel, which it could have done, but it still feels very fluid and very nimble. Like when William first goes to the motel to meet the band and then follows them on the assignment, it does feel like it's catching things on the fly. It spots something going on between Jeff and one of the band-aids, but then moves on to something else because Penny Lane has entered the room and is commanding attention. So it's got that sense of it's keeping you on the toes during those scenes, but when it needs to, it absolutely zeroes in on the characters or the emotion, like those close-up of the eyes when William and Penny are connecting with each other across a room. When Elaine gets off the phone, and so far her smothering has been very funny and played for laughs, but then you get that shot where it's her alone in the kitchen and she throws the phone away because she's that upset, and she's just framed in complete isolation in the kitchen because the camera's not near her. It's brilliant because it's serving the story, it's serving the emotion, and that's what I need to do for a film like this.
Absolutely, yeah. Hat-trick, it's cinematography serving the narrative for me, serving Crowe's vision. I think John Toll knows his place is to deliver this very personal story and just not to get in the way.
Yeah.
Don't think there's anything flashy about the work here. He's not trying to push to the front of the queue.
No, definitely not. No.
And I think the most obvious use of the camera is when it's mounted on the car, when Anita leaves at the start.
Oh, yeah.
We said. Outside of that, it just feels like the camera is a bystander in this world, just casually picking up these beautiful images.
Yeah.
Because when I think about Almost Famous, in my mind I see just warm images, hazy sunbeams bursting through the windows of the tour bus, an orange hue around Jeff Beebe when he's chasing the bus, saying that he's only the fucking lead singer.
Yeah.
These images really conjure up feelings of affection and love for me, and it works hand in hand with Crowe's approach to the material, the story he's trying to tell, and the affection that he has. Toll just visualizes that with these glorious images. It's great work without standing out.
Exactly. Toll grew up in the 70s. Crowe said the period felt like oxygen to him. He wasn't trying to remember the era from a distance, he was just inside it. Crowe gave him a book of images to use as reference points, pictures from Crowe's time on the road.
And Crowe was very particular about not wanting the film to look like a soft-focused nostalgia trip. He said, the movie doesn't feel like somebody's golden haze memory. It feels like it's happening right now, and that's the challenge on a period piece like this. The 70s without the rose-tinted glasses, but still a love letter to the time.
Yeah, there's plenty of rose-tinted glasses on
I was going to say,
all the other aspects of the film.
I slightly disagree with that statement,
Yeah. So a special crew on Almost Famous, an outstanding screenplay shot beautifully by John Toll. Special mention should also go to Nancy Wilson, who composed the sparingly used score in the film, casting director Gail Levin, and music supervisor Danny Bramson. Incredible work all round.
Yeah, fantastic.
The end.
In the final act of Almost Famous, Stillwater are airborne, but there are some harsh realities coming around the corner for Penny Lane. Over to you first, Westy.
Yeah, I mean, we go to a card game And this moment is where it does get a little bit darker, but still it's not that dark, is it? It's, the lights are on. We know exactly what's going on, and it's just enough. We've got Russell and Dick, who both together, I think, would get up to absolute debauchery if they were left to their own devices and the rest of the band weren't around. I think just leave it to them two, and we're in real trouble. And that's kind of what we see here, is just that unhinged element of two people who are more friends than they are professionals. And that's where things start to slip out of hand. And you can imagine this type of thing happening easily. But again, it's quite soft and it's quite rose-tinted and it's quite easy. And a big shout out to Mitch Hedberg, who's in this scene. He's the roadie for the Eagles and one of my favourite stand-ups of all time. Sadly died of a drug overdose not long after this.
Right.
But it's just the way the dialogue plays out here. 3 lovely ladies in the custody of humble pie. Then we go to Penny's birthday and everything seems all right. Everything seems quite genuine. Russell's reading out a poem. And then we get the whole, I'm sorry the plane wasn't bigger. And that is such a cutting line. And I think it's delivered with such like a squaredness of like, it's professional now. You don't belong here. And it's just her desperation. We see Penny Lane now desperate. This whole genuine vibe is just this facade that crashes down. And you show that Russell or any of the band haven't really got any say in anything. He doesn't want to sell her. He wants her to go, but he has to have that facade in front of all the guys. He has to just play that. He's got to play that role. It's really well played by Fugit here because he's just, when and where is this real world? And I think that's really important because everyone forgets about this real place. And he's got that grounding of his mother, and that's what really brings him down. And the sold you a humble pie for $50 and a case of beer. And that whole breakdown moment where she just like, you can say a heartbreak and she's just crying. That again, this is John Toll all over. Look at that shot. That could have been cheese on toast, but just beautifully lit. The light's going out of her eyes almost. Great. It's somewhere distant. She's completely lost from everything. But what type of beer? Yeah. It's just a beautiful thing. Like, it's just a material possession. How much was it worth? What type of beer was it? Was it expensive? Was it not? It doesn't matter about the actual gesture amount. It's just, what was better than me? And there's just that really subtle acoustic number that's in there that just plays just underneath. And then it goes into Misty Mountain Hop, which again is just a beautiful musical transition. It just totally works. But these moments here, you're finding out reality is now starting to invade the fantasy, and it's getting pretty uncomfortable.
Yes. Yeah. So Misty Mountain Hop ushers them into New York. Yeah. And this is just an unbelievable stretch because the band make it to New York. Penny does as well. The band are having drinks at Max's Kansas City when they find out that they're going to be on the cover of Rolling Stone. But Russell's balloon is burst when Penny shows up and puts a pin in it. And she's uncordially shown the route south. Yeah. And this may well be, like you said, Westy, the best needle drop in the film. Mona Lisa's and Mad Hatter. As Elton John, the dream begins to evaporate.
Yeah.
William chases after Penny to find her all messed up in the hotel room. High on Quaaludes, and this scene is cross-cut with images from William's graduation with his mother in attendance, but he is not. Yeah. And it's a powerful moment showing how this 15-year-old kid is in a situation that he really shouldn't be. His innocence is being taken away, and these are his life experiences now. He's in love with a 16-year-old groupie who's OD'd on Quaaludes and she's getting her stomach pumped. I mean, goodness me.
Yeah.
I think that Elaine must take some blame here because if she didn't make him skip some grades in school, he likely wouldn't have been in the position that he's in now.
Possibly, yeah.
True.
Harsh reality. The high school graduation sequence was filmed at Crowe's actual high school with another nod to his real life on the casting. Alice Crowe, we mentioned her in the deleted Led Zepp scene, but she plays the teacher handing out the diplomas wearing the pink hat.
Right.
Right. Standing right next to her is a shot of Charles Walker, the actor who played the principal in Crowe's earlier film, Say Anything, as well.
Oh, okay, right.
Nice tie-in.
And during this OD scene, obviously, William gives Penny a kiss when she's passed out. And Fugit did express some issues about this. He said, she's overdosing, she might die, and William is going to fucking kiss her while she's passed out. But he did concede this was the only way William could express his feelings for Penny without fear of rejection.
Yeah.
It still doesn't sit.
I'm not a fan.
You can't explain this away.
No, you can't.
It doesn't work.
No, I'm not a fan of that moment. But I do like the scene in Central Park where Penny reveals her name, Lady Goodman.
Yeah.
All barriers are broken down between the two. And she doesn't need to put on this persona. She's found a true friend. He'll do anything for her to save her life. She's not wearing makeup. She's very reserved. It's a real coming together between the two of them. They're literally and metaphorically that close together now. I really like that.
It's like that Dylan album cover, isn't it? When they're
freewheeling.
Freewheeling,
Yeah, it is.
The night before Kate Hudson was due to shoot her hangover recovery scene with Fugit, she had gone out partying with Jason Lee and Jimmy Fallon. Ooh.
Yes.
She didn't make it back to her hotel until 5 a.m, desperate for Crowe not to see her. Crowe's bedroom was next door to hers, and she could not get her key card to work. Oh, no. She was making enough of a racket that Crowe stuck his head out the door. Busted.
Brilliant. Yeah, so there she was, in a dress, clearly having been out all night. Crowe took one look at her and said, rock and roll.
Brilliant.
Hudson thought, well, I'm just going to go right to work because this is my hangover scene. I'm dressed the part already.
Yeah.
So the Central Park morning after walk was a result of that very early morning.
Oh, nice. Totally works.
It does, yeah.
So everyone's hit a little bit of turbulence, and now it's literally going to happen to the band, hitting some turbulence, because they're on this plane. Now, I'm personally not the greatest flyer in the world, so when Russell thinks at the start, this is funny, and starts going, Peggy Sue, just cut that out, right?
Yeah.
Stop it with that shit. But this is when it all comes spilling out, because everybody thinks that they're actually going to die here in this crash. And it's so typical of this band that in what looks like their final moments, everyone just starts fessing up to the worst thing they've done and then slagging each other off. I mean, Russell, to be fair, he tries to start it off in a good vibe, telling everyone that he loves them, and he should have told them all. But then it's just confession after confession. Dennis might have killed someone in a hit and run.
Wow.
Dick's been skimming money off the top. And I love how that's the catalyst for everyone to tell Dick that they've been sleeping with his wife at some point.
Yeah.
Although Larry, the bassist, did at least wait until they'd split up, which was nice of him. Everyone else, though, just straight in whenever they could. That's really funny. But then this is when we found out Jeff has slept with Leslie and he's still in love with it.
Oh, yeah.
And obviously Russell kicks off, but Jeff's right. Russell is a complete hypocrite here because he's been sleeping with Penny for the last year. So all this is going on and everyone's right, but everyone's wrong at the same time, which is what's brilliant about it. And it's a perfectly balanced scene because it's life and death and it's really dramatic, but it's really funny at the same time. Like, really tickles me when Leslie yells, "Oh, shut up, Jeffrey." And Russell goes, "Jeffrey." Like, that's the worst thing about those two sleeping together. Like, using his full name.
Full name.
I don't know why it makes him kick off, but it's brilliant.
Like they've really been intimate.
That's his full name. And it just ends on this perfect note because you got Ed the drummer. He's not said one word throughout the entire film. And he just goes, "Fuck it." And everyone's looking at him. Why? What's he going to say? "I'm gay." And everyone's so surprised and confused, like, why are you bringing this up now? And of course, that's when they get through the storm. And it's all just quiet. And the pilot comes in. "We were live. Sweet relief." And Ed's just like shrinking into his seat.
The timing's beautiful.
Just his eyes darting around. Yeah. It's a proper Spinal Tap moment.
It's another Spinal Tap moment.
It really is. I mean, that drummer must be inspired by Spinal Tap. But he doesn't say one word.
No, until this. Yeah, and that's it.
Yeah. So the whole scene is taken from a real flight Crowe had whilst touring with Hart, the band his wife Nancy Wilson fronted. Crowe said, "Everyone's darkest, most hysterical side came out. Afterwards, I couldn't believe that the embarrassment could be so large that living was almost second prize." Amazing.
And Crowe was always terrified of flying because of the Lynyrd Skynyrd crash in 1977, which killed 3 band members and the pilots. And he said that ever since, every time he gets on a plane, that's what he thinks about.
And you mentioned Peggy Sue, Buddy Holly died in a plane crash in 1959.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, really dark humour that from Russell.
Yeah, really is. You should know better.
So with the revelation of some home truths, the ride is over for William. His assignment is done.
Yes.
The final stretch sees William submitting the article, the band refuting it, and emotional reunions all over the place. And we're starting with a bedraggled William showing up at Rolling Stone offices in San Francisco. Everyone in the office eyeballing this poor kid who's been through the ringer. And apparently his article is a puff piece. It's what the band wanted him to write. Bad reception.
Uncomfortable, yeah. And in these sequences, Terry Chen plays Ben Fong Torres, the editor who actually discovered Crowe in real life. And to make sure the Rolling Stone magazine set felt right, Crowe had the real Fong Torres come down to set, and when he arrived, he only pushed back on one detail, and that was the wardrobe team dressing Terry Chen in a paisley shirt, because Fong Torres said he never wore shirts like that.
Yeah, Crowe pulled out a photograph from the research files showing Fong Torres wearing that exact shirt, and he said, "Okay, well, maybe I wore that one then." He is great, Terry Chen. He's really, really funny.
Yeah, he's really funny.
So it's back to the typewriter and some words of wisdom from his old pal Lester Bangs, who starts off by saying, friendship is the booze they'll feed you. They'll make you feel cool. And hey, I met you. You are not cool.
Yeah.
Hilarious, with an accepting William on the other end of the line agreeing with him. Yes, I'm not cool.
Yeah.
But this is a really tender exchange between William and Lester. Bangs is still mentoring William, but he's not posturing or lording it over him.
No.
He's treating him like an equal here.
Mm-hmm.
The camera tells you that with that glorious close-up of Bangs' face on the phone, spouting his wisdom based on years of rejection, no doubt.
Mm-hmm.
And on the other end, William's face is a combination of exhaustion, longing, sadness, and acceptance. He's been through it, but he's made some really wonderful connections with people along the way, and Lester Bangs certainly being one of them.
Yeah.
William really needed someone to turn to, and there's such sadness to the line when he says, I'm glad you were home. It's the intonation, it's the way he delivers that word home. He's almost cracking. But Crowe injects some wonderful levity when Bangs replies, I'm always home, I'm uncool.
Yeah.
That's lovely.
Yeah.
And the scene ends with Bangs imploring William to be honest and unmerciful.
Yeah.
And he certainly is that, right, Matt?
It certainly is. And the band don't like that one little bit. But I think one of the best kind of notes in the film is, although the music is great, the band themselves, they are a bunch of idiots. And there's no better scene of demonstrating this than their reaction here to the article. I mean, like when Jeff is reading out his own quotes, rock and roll can save the world. The chicks are great. I sound like a dick. And Russell, who's just having to lie down very quietly, you are a dick. It's so funny. It's so funny, the dynamic between those two, still having to go at each other. But he did say all that, and again, it goes back to what Lester said at the beginning about these people who'll destroy rock and roll because the buffoons, without the courage to be buffoons, and they had ideas above the station. Mm-hmm. And Russell's self-realization is beautifully done as well when he has to face up to his own words being quoted back to him. I never said I'm a golden god. Or did I? Like, even he's having to face up to what he is. So this whole scene has this wonderful feeling that Lester was right all along. William's got them banked right, and he never was the enemy because they are their own worst enemy.
Yeah.
And they can't do anything about it because they've been exposed. I mean, when Jeff yells, is it that hard to make us look cool? Apparently so.
It's great. That's all they're bothered about.
Yeah, exactly.
In the scene, Jeff Beebe is wearing a T-shirt that says Jeff Beebe on it. Amazing. But the photograph on the shirt is actually of Russell Hammond, not Jeff. Yes, it's a sly visual gag about the band's central tension. In the bootleg cut, Jeff has a line where he says directly to Russell, I'm the you they get when they can't have you, which I love that line.
Nice.
Yeah, that's great. You really have to be looking for that to notice that's Russell on that T-shirt. But that is a great little detail.
Yeah, so from there, I mean, we get retribution, we get the arcs closing, and Russell is finally just pleading with Penny to say, I've done the wrong thing. I'm coming to you this time. I love that line. I think that's great. Yeah. But Penny's had enough. She knows where she is now. She's comfortable. She's back home and probably knows that if she goes back to Russell, this is just going to keep happening again and again because she's going back to the fantasy. And what she has to do is keep Russell in the reality, which is what he's been battling this whole time. And I think it's just absolutely fantastic where he's just, let's just say all the things that were never said. And she only has one line in all of this. You know, we're talking about reactions with just dialogue. And all she says is, got a pen. And it's her voice on the phone. And you don't see her deliver it. And that's it. And then the taxi turns up outside the house. We're going to find out what happens with William later on. You know, it's a classic Texas switch
Silence
here.
of the Lambs, isn't it?
It's a Silence of the Lambs moment. Just without, you know, that payoff.
Yeah.
Put the fucking guitar in the fucking basket.
Precious.
Amazing. I just love it when he gets out of the taxi and he's walking up and he's just nodding to himself. He's like, yeah, this is where I should live. This is the place. Yeah, he's going,
this must be the place.
It's Penny. Yeah, he's like, this is good. And then, you know, Elaine's there and there's just that look. And she's like, what? What do you want? You're selling something. It's that look from Francis McDormand. It's like, what? And just raised eyebrows, like, what? And he's just, I'm Russell Hammond. Oh, this is the world famous Russell Hammond. That just keeps, you know, the screen door shut, so there's still distance between them. She decides to open it and let him in. And it's just that complete confusion, but there's still the confidence from Russell. It's like, this is Penny's mom, so I've got to impress her and I've got to be like, this is fine. Yeah, and he's still playing the role. He's like, lovely, nice. Is she in? Is she home? It's like, who? Anita. And then there's just that moment from Zooey Deschanel where she just looks and she walks forward, does that little hip kind of stance.
That's a lovely move, isn't it?
I love
just
that.
so adorable because she's like, me? You here for me? This is Russell Hammond.
Why?
This is just and just that's the best thing she could do. It's absolutely fantastic. And then he realizes, he sees the pictures, and again, this is Crowe's genius, because if you listen carefully, he instills Tiny Dancer, but he does it on a guitar first, and it's broken, and it's just slow, and it's a realization. It's Russell remembering his time with William and that moment that William brought him back and saved him, and that was what's important to him. And as he gets the recollection back and goes up the corridor towards the door, he opens the door, and then it starts going into a piano. It gets faster. It gets more relevant. It becomes the song again, and then he wakes William up, and he's back. He's confident. He knows exactly where he is. He knows exactly what he needs to do. And this, between the two of them, is just... it's just wonderful. I absolutely love this ending of this film. It's very Cameron Crowe way to end the film, but it's very, very brilliant.
Oh, it is.
Because he sits and he gives William everything he needs. He says, I didn't even know our real name. William did. And he smiles. And there's that smile from William where he's like, I've won this because I did it properly. I did it right. And beyond that, they become equals. And we're going to do this one more time. And we've got absolutely no holding back. We've got nothing we have to worry about. The fantasy has become the reality, and the reality has become the fantasy. Both worlds have merged together, and it's okay. You can't combine them both as long as you're a good person, and that's what it's saying at the end of this film. What do you love about music? To begin with, everything.
Forget about it.
Forget about it.
And in this final interview William has with Russell, William asks him what he loves about music, and as Westy said, he starts to answer To Begin With. And that's actually the title of Stillwater's fictional first album, and you can briefly see it on an 8-track in the opening sequence of the film.
Yeah,
nice.
So that's why there's a little wry smile.
Oh,
nice.
I love that. Yeah, that's probably a better name for the film. To Begin With.
To begin with, yeah.
Probably would be, yeah.
After Cameron Crowe's dad died in 1989, his sister Cindy and their mother became estranged. They communicated only through Cameron Crowe. Almost Famous, in his words, was partly a hope that the film might help them reconnect. He said the one fake scene in the movie, the reconciliation at the end, actually happened in its own weird way. About 3.5 weeks before that interview he gave, the family had gotten together for the first time in a long while. And that's a nice moment when Anita comes back and William shoves Elaine towards her with his suitcase.
Yeah.
That's lovely.
I love that. Yeah.
And part of the original script's ending sees Russell going to the Rolling Stone office himself to tell them William was reporting the truth all along. The Rolling Stone editors tell him he's too late. They're already running another cover story. And Russell's initial response is, oh, thank God. But then he checks himself and says, if I were to go back to my hotel room in OD, you'd find a way to put me on the cover of the next issue, right?
Great. Yeah. It's good dialogue. Probably isn't needed, though.
No, it's a bit long-winded for what it is. The original ending of the film was supposed to have the Miller family around the dinner table with Elaine playing a bootleg Neil Young song on the way home. The scene was tinged with sadness at the lack of a father figure in the Miller dynamic, with an empty chair prominent at the table.
Yeah, Crowe said that one of the secrets of Almost Famous is that it's so much about the father who's not there. I thought that would be there if you knew what to look for.
Yeah, it's William searching for a father figure all the way through the film, isn't it? Really,
That's right.
Lester,
It is,
or it's Russell, or it's and he ultimately finds it in himself.
You do. Very nice. Yeah, very nice. So yeah, Cameron Crowe later switched this out for Tangerine by Zeppelin to play over Stillwater tour bus. Crowe said the song was more eloquent in its summary of the movie than any spoken words. Hard to disagree.
Yeah.
So it all ends on a positive, heartwarming note. Penny is going to Morocco, the Miller family are back together, and Stillwater runs deep.
Yeah.
Reception and awards.
Almost Famous had its world premiere at the 25th Toronto International Film Festival on September 8th, 2000.
DreamWorks went with a slow rollout. The film opened in just 131 cinemas on September 15th, 2000. The following week, it widened to over 1,000 screens.
And it ended up taking a worldwide total of $47.4 million, which unfortunately, against a $60 million budget, was an undeniable flop. And to put that in context, Crowe's previous film, Jerry Maguire, that made $273.5 million worldwide.
Ouch.
Maguire has Tom Cruise in there, to be fair. So
That's true.
Exactly,
especially at that time.
Crowe said our movie about 1973 got its ass kicked by a movie from 1973. He was referring to the fact that September 2000 box office charts were topped by, of all things, a re-release version of The Exorcist from 1973, which raked in over $112 million at the box office.
I remember that coming back out, yeah.
Yeah, of course. It wasn't great at the box office, but it did have its fans among critics.
Yes, A.O. Scott in the New York Times wrote that the movie's real pleasures are to be found not in its story, but in its profusion of funny, offbeat scenes. It's the kind of picture that invites you to go back and savour your favourite moments, like choice album cuts.
Yeah.
Lovely.
Empire gave it 4 out of 5, saying it's the most convincing account yet of what rock and roll felt like to the people backstage as it turned from a movement into a career. Those who were there will love the detail. Those who weren't, well, they'll wish they had been.
Too right. Guilty.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And our man in the field, our best friend, Roger Ebert. What do you think he gave it out of 4, fellas?
Big fan, 3.5.
Yeah, I would say about a 3.5, yeah.
Oh, well, he went 4 out of 4.
Whoa,
did
nice.
he?
Boom.
Nice.
Big time. Big time. He called it one of the best films of 2000 and said, "Oh, what a lovely film. I was almost hugging myself while watching it. Almost Famous is funny and touching in so many different ways."
Big softy, Rog.
Yeah, of course he was.
He is.
Despite the box office, the awards came through. Almost Famous picked up 4 Oscar nominations. Best Original Screenplay, won by Crowe. Best Editing, lost to Traffic. Best Supporting Actress nods for both Hudson and McDormand, but they lost out to Marcia Gray Harden for Pollock.
Right. Yeah.
Unfortunate.
Yeah. And at the Golden Globes, the film went big. It won Best Motion Picture, Musical or Comedy, plus a Supporting Actress win for Hudson.
And at the BAFTAs, Crowe took home Best Original Screenplay and the film won Best Sound.
Nice.
Yeah, very nice. Crowe's original cut of the film was 4.5 hours long. He was contractually obliged to deliver a roughly 2-hour theatrical version. His mother, Alice, later described the trimming process as like cutting your children out of your life.
Yeah, Sophie's Choice.
Yeah.
But he later got his vision restored.
Almost Famous was released in its original form in March 2001, but 9 months later out came the bootleg cut, as we've been mentioning. 40 minutes longer in length and infinitely better. Crowe was also working on Vanilla Sky when the original DVD came out, and when it came to cutting Vanilla Sky, he had the same crew as Almost Famous, so they basically stayed back after school and recut the bootleg cut for free.
Yeah.
Wow, nice.
Incredible. The big new bits in the cut were the full Kyle Glass interview, an extended version of Penny dancing alone in the empty Cleveland Arena, Penny Lane's birthday scene, and Russell and Jeff makeup backstage, and a bit more with Anna Paquin as Palexia as well.
Yeah.
Crowe said of the bootleg cut, part of the experience of appreciating a bootleg is feeling like you've got something that's slightly contraband. With this official release, we wanted to capture that feeling. I get that.
Yeah.
So not everyone's masterpiece has to be a box office winner, but Almost Famous got critical praise, a healthy number of awards, and a second life on DVD.
Yeah.
Sequels and influence.
Obviously, there's no film sequel to Almost Famous, but Crowe has been working on a stage musical version since 2018. It had a run in San Diego in 2019, was then wiped out by the pandemic, and finally opened again on Broadway on November 3rd, 2022, and the music was co-written by Crowe, who oversaw production.
2 notable changes from the film. First, any suggestion that Penny Lane might be as young as 16 is gone from the stage version.
Good.
Tick. Second, William no longer kisses an unconscious Penny when she's overdosed.
Oh, thank
Good.
God. Yeah.
Great time in the conversation about consent that's happened since 2000, catching up with the source material for good reason.
Yes.
But in the years since its release, the film that is, where have you seen Almost Famous's influence, or what do you think its legacy is, Westy?
I think there's been a lot of coming of age dramas or romantic comedies or music foundationed films. I think there's been quite a few. I mean, Matt said before, he said, there is a lot of these biopics coming out and a lot of these trying to address the time that happened, trying to bring the nostalgia back for people who don't really understand the nostalgia of the time. Yeah. And I think people who do understand it, really good filmmakers. And I see a lot of this influence in films that want to just, make you feel good or make you feel that you are understood in some way, and then use music to reinforce that. So I think one of the first ones is School of Rock. I don't think without this film, you wouldn't have School of Rock. You wouldn't have the influence. I think this is massive on A Star Is Born, the remake, obviously not the original. But I think it has very, very similar tones to it, and how to make it accessible, and how to make, it was huge for a bigger audience. I see bits of this in Licorice Pizza. I see
nice.
that kind of vibe to it.
Great shout.
Very much so.
Yeah.
And musically, I see a lot of this in Wes Anderson stuff, particularly in Tenenbaums. I see a lot of Cameron Crowe's influence in that type of thing.
Lovely.
I think in terms of legacy, I think one of the big ones for me is Cameron Crowe himself, because I think this is one of those films where it feels like that's the summation of what the director has been trying to do and say for their entire career.
Yeah.
This feels like the film he was building towards, because if you look at what he's done after it, there's not a lot there.
Disappointing. No.
Couple of music documentaries, and then the likes of We Bought a Zoo and Aloha. It's like he's got nothing left to say because he said it all in Almost Famous.
Yeah,
Agreed.
And then in terms of influence, I mean, I don't know if it is a direct influence, but this whole thing I've got in my head of we don't know how good Stillwater actually are. I see a lot of that in Inside Llewyn Davis, where very different
great.
tonally. But again, the whole thing about that film is he really good and he's just unlucky, or is he just not that good and he just thinks he's better than he is? And he's just a bit of a shit to everyone. I think it's got that similar kind of idea behind it. And then also I think John Carney, an Irish director, and a lot of his films are about music in musicians. I mean, he's done the likes of Begin Again, Sing Street. But his most famous film and his best one, I think, is Once, about the Irish busker. So yeah, I think that Almost Famous really has helped his career as well.
Yeah, very much. Outside of what you two fellas have said, I think Tiny Dancer would be a buried album track from Madman had Crowe not resurrected it for this film.
Yeah, very much. Yeah.
It's the reason it's part of popular culture. Like directly, it would not be on the radio now if it wasn't for this film.
No, it's a really good point.
And it's the reason that Elton John now plays it at every gig, something that the big man himself has even acknowledged.
Oh, yeah.
Well, there you go.
I'm sure there was a temptation to get back on the bus for Cameron Crowe and do a sequel to Almost Famous, but we've always got that hazy summer of 1973 to return back to when we're feeling lonely.
It's always there for you.
All the Right Movies ranking.
The encore of our show is where we summarise our thoughts and rate the film out of 10. And I'm going to take it away here. Now, multiple rewatches over the last few weeks, and this film has really dug under my skin. That happens from time to time when we cover certain films from the show that become part of pretty much every thought that I have, kind of like hour to hour. They're always there. I can feel it.
Yeah.
But this one, it's almost given me a heavy heart. It's landed so hard this time around.
Right, okay.
Like a yearning to watch the film, to listen to the soundtrack, to read anything that I can get my hands on about the era. It's really dug in. I've got a couple of nickels, of course. I think Elaine lets William go a little too easy considering her stranglehold on her children.
Yeah.
I've got a problem with the age of the Band-Aids. The deflowering scene can get lost. And William's kiss are problematic as well. So there are a few things that raise an eyebrow or two for me. But aside from that, I think the writing is impeccable. I think the music choices are second to none. I love an ensemble cast, and this one is one of the best. Yeah. I didn't really anticipate this when we first started working on this, but I'm in love with this film. I don't love it. I'm in love with it. Wow. I miss it when I don't see it for a while.
Wow.
It nourishes me. It gives me inspiration every time I watch it to listen to music, like you said at the top, Westy.
Yeah.
I'd love to give it 10, but those issues that I said really prevent it from full marks.
Yeah.
So I am going to give it a 9.5 out of 10.
Okay.
Nice.
What about you, Westy?
Yeah, I mean, it's one that I'll come back to, like I said at the top. It's one that makes us feel incredibly happy. It's one that I'll stick on for absolutely anyone who hasn't seen it, and I'll feel this incredible sense of envy and jealousy and just fury that they haven't seen it. But I do, and I'll be, just happy to check it out with them, to be honest. And I think this is one of the very rare episodes where we haven't really, like I've said, especially me, touched on like the technical aspects of the filmmaking. It's just about Cameron Crowe expressing himself and being in a position where he totally understands the medium and uses the medium perfectly. Having said that, some of these messages are lost on me. Like you said, Luke, just exactly the same issues that we've had all the way going through it.
Yeah, of course.
Like Matt said, the deflowering scene, that's not up there for me. It's one I would just kind of look away a little bit. But it is a wonderful thing. And I saw this, at peak when I was 19, 20, and it just made us fall in love with cinema and fall in love with music at the same time. It was just one of them films that really landed for me. It's definitely up there for me, and it's a very high mark. It's a 9 on 10.
Very nice, yeah. What about you, Matt?
Yeah, it's a beautifully put together film. It's heartfelt, it's genuine. There's not a trace of cynicism to it, and that's why a film about a fictional band is 1,000 times more insightful than any middle-of-the-road biopic you can name about a real musician. about what music's about and how it makes people feel. So many performances in this are career highlights for the various actors. Kate Hudson's never been better. Patrick Fugit's never been better. Jason Lee's probably never been better.
Yeah.
And even if they're not highlights for the likes of McDormand and Hoffman, they still bring an effortless level of weight to the whole film.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it goes without saying the music's amazing. But it's certainly not perfect. Considering the topic, it is a little bit safe and sanded down. And there's obviously those two individual scenes that we've all highlighted. They need to go or to be severely rewritten at some point. So it does come down a little bit for me, but it's still a hugely enjoyable, hugely comforting 9 out of 10.
Fantastic. And our fourth and final score for Almost Famous comes from our Patreon community who voted this one over the last few days. Some mini reviews to read out before we get to the score. Okay. First up, from Dean Jones, who says, Almost Famous, almost perfect. It's a 9 from me.
Yes. Yeah.
Short and sweet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Next one is from Philip Keats, who said, it didn't stick with me. A bit too rose-tinted. I like Philip Seymour Hoffman as Lester Banks. Maybe I should rewatch it, but not sure I will. I'll give it an extra point for you guys. 7 out of 10.
Right.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Give it another go, Philip.
Yeah.
And watch the untitled version if you can.
Definitely.
And our third review is from Rich, who says, it's a 10. Yes, it's idealized, and yes, some of the characters are ciphers, but it's a point of view live seen through a romanticized and often naive lens. It does so much to capture the feel of the 70s scene, the trials and tribulations of being on the road when the edges of stardom, and the sheer love of music and writing about it. Its flaws are forgivable, its warmth unforgettable, a love letter in every sense. Ooh. I'll tell you what, Rich.
Lovely stuff, Rich.
Have you ever been in a podcast?
Do you want to write for Rolling Stone?
So what do you think the Patreon score is, fellas? Overall out of 10?
Got to be up there, hasn't it? I mean, 8.5. I'm going to go skeptical.
Right.
Okay.
Well, back mine and Westy scores and go 9.
Oh, Westy, you've got it. It's 8.5 out of 10.
No way. Wow.
Mm-hmm. And, I kind of get it. If the music doesn't hit the mark for you, or if the tone doesn't get it, you're on the back foot immediately.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah.
So overall, that gives Almost Famous a whopping 36 out of 40.
Nice, yeah.
That's a great score.
It is.
It is a great score, yep.
Join us again on All the Right Movies. We will be back in 2 weeks when John, Westy and Matt will be talking about Michael Bay's The Rock, Sean Connery, Nick Cage, Alcatraz. If it's good enough for Criterion, it's good enough for ATRM.
Absolutely.
Get the fuck in. Can't wait.
It's going to be great.
Can't wait for that one.
What a film that is.
Before that, though, our director's chair and studio head patrons can hear the three fellas next week on Double Feature, where we're covering 2 James Mangold films, Copland and Logan.
Yeah.
3 great guys, 2 terrific Mangold films, 1 episode. And if you missed it, the latest episode of The Watch List came out last week. So if you're hungry for some new release chat from the 3 of us here, get yourself on Patreon or YouTube.
Yes.
Yep, absolutely.
And speaking of which, if you want to hear that double feature episode or any of the Watch List back catalogue, head to patreon.com/alltherightmovies and join the Patreon community. You get the full back catalogue of this show beyond the most recent 20, plus the Watch List for new releases and double feature for the films we're not quite ready to bring to our main show just yet. You can subscribe on Patreon and YouTube for those.
Indeed.
And before we go, we have a book, All the Right Movies, the stories and secrets behind the making of 25 iconic films, which is available for pre-order. And you can find that on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Waterstones, Indigo, independent bookshops, Books A Million, bookshop.org, and wherever you buy your books. It is due out at the start of September, so get your pre-order in right now.
Absolutely.
Get it sorted.
You can also find us across all of our usual social media platforms. We're on X, Blue Sky, Threads, Instagram and TikTok. Our Making of Movie threads go up on X and Blue Sky, researched extensively like our podcast, with all information coming from at least 3 sources or from the mouths of the cast or crew, so check those out for some great Hollywood stories. And everything we do is at alltherightmovies.com.
Yes, it is.
And that is a wrap. We're off to do that thing that fixes the garbage disposal. I certainly know how my lady gets when I don't snap to it.
Crazy.
Crazy. Come back in 2 weeks for The Rock. Thanks for listening, everyone.
Thanks for listening, guys.
Thanks, guys.